You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Good protection, aired out. Bateman downfield, and he has got it for the touchdown. You saw the flag. That call is against the Chargers, and this touchdown will stand.
Christian Fulton was in a great position. He just could not locate the ball. What a great job by Rashad Bateman.
Pass interference, number 7 defense. Penalties declined. Results of the play, touchdown.
And with that, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here. We're almost close to Thanksgiving, just a couple of days away. It is Tuesday, November 26th. How's everybody doing? Thanks for checking out the show here on the Coastal Sports Network and across the video platform, which is outstanding. Following me on Twitter, X at PShep326, on Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. Did I leave anything out? Call or text the show as always, 727-858-6650. How's everybody doing today? Really good football game last night. The Harbaugh Bowl, as they say. We got some highlights, video and audio alike, in the Baltimore Ravens 30-23 win. Actually come from behind. We're down 10-0 in this game. And then the offense really started to click. We'll have all the highlights for you with a video and everything else. All the latest NFL news. Mike Tannenbaum is going to fix the Jets. We'll tell you about that coming up. Also, we've got some college football news to tell you about as well, with the college football playoff rankings and seedings coming out tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Later on in the show at 8:30, we'll talk with Jay Flannelly about that and about Michigan becoming bowl eligible and a lot of college football stuff. Bill Byrd at 9:05 will join me from the Eagle Tribune. We'll talk about the Patriots and that head-scratching press conference made by Gerard Mayo yesterday, who basically admitted my offensive line stinks and my backups stink too. Very frightening stuff from Gerard Mayo yesterday. We'll talk to Bill about that. As mentioned, the offensive line, defensive coordinator, and all that stuff. And some men's college basketball big-time tournaments going on all around the country, particularly in Maui, where Dan Hurley blew a gasket last night during the game at the end in overtime in the loss to Memphis, and rightly so. And rightly so. It was one of the worst calls I've seen already in college basketball all year long. NBA, the Celtics get Porzingis back, and some anonymous source tweeted out last night, it is going to be a very long season for everybody else in the NBA. They are just an absolute wrecking machine. Now, it's never easy. No one's going to hand them a title and everything else, but my God, last night, and the Clippers, one of the hottest teams coming in. So were the Celtics. Both had won 5 in a row. Celtics were up by, 28 at halftime. They won by 32 last night. Porzingis, just, again, an already awesome basketball team, just made them more awesomer. Yes, I made that up. Last night, 23 minutes, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. I didn't know he was coming back until I spoke with Patrick Gilroy yesterday, who also joined me at 9:30 this morning, NBA insider and covers the Celtics. He said everybody was a go except for Cornette. I said, great. And then I said, Jesus, does that mean Porzingis? Yeah, it means Porzingis, who's back about a month early, which is frightening for the rest of the NBA. It really is. It just, they had everybody firing all cylinders last night. They had a whole bunch of threes again and just blew the Clippers and James Harden out of the building. It was fabulous to watch. I was on a back-to-back, by the way. They had beat Minnesota the day before. By the way, we'll get to the Minnesota Timberwolves play-by-play crew on television. Michael Grady, Jim Peterson. Where do you hear their nonsense from the other day, from Sunday night? Apparently not happy with the way Jaylen Brown plays and the way the Celtics shoot threes. They're upset about it. Anyway, we'll play it for you. So we got lots of video stuff, lots of audio stuff. We'll get to the what happened with UConn last night as well. With that, we say good morning to the legendary Angel Martinez. Good morning, my friend. How are you on this very little chilly 57 degrees this morning? And that's going to be another beautiful day here in Southwest Florida, as it has been really for the last 4 or 5 days with the temps chilling. And I'm sure it's the same up where you are in Tampa. I'm in Fort Myers. You're in Tampa. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Buenos dias, Pete. Yeah, it's 49 degrees up here in Tampa, so it's just a little bit chillier, but nonetheless,
What
it's
is it up there?
49.
It's 57 here.
Man, it's 49. We always get there's always a couple of degrees difference up this way, just like from us to Citrus County, which is basically like 2 counties up, and then they get about 5 to 6 degrees difference between us and them. So it's kind of expected this time of year, but it's nice though, because you figure yesterday at this time we were about 55, and at least by 9 o'clock in the morning, we're already in the 70s. So it's been really nice, really enjoyable weather, which is early. Normally we don't get this kind of weather until like February. And then, cause we're always in the 80s all the way up and through, basically up until Christmas, but the 80s are coming back today, tomorrow. And
we get in the 40s. We get in the 40s down here. Sometimes like not, it was like 49 the other day. But I mean, you get those late November, December, January, and as you said, February, the lows of 49, sometimes around 40, sometimes even like 39, which is crazy when you think about it. It doesn't last that long. It lasts a couple hours, and then, the high temp for that day will be in the 60s. So not complaining about it compared to what the rest of the country is going through or is about to go through and all that. So it is what it is. I enjoy the cooler temperatures this time of year, especially when it gets just in the 70s. During the day, it's great. We haven't had the air on in 5 days, so it's been fantastic.
Yep, same here. We haven't had it on in a couple of days, so it's nice. You can let the front door open, the lanai door screen open, and it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely beautiful. Oh, my God. Well, we had a pretty good football game last night. The Ravens win 30-23. We'll have lots of other NFL sound as well from various teams and various situations during the week. But let's start off with a cool video right out of the gate. Angel, it's the second one under the show. This was during the Manningcast last night. Jay Billis, who's out covering basketball for ESPN in Maui at the Maui Classic, and here's how the Manningcast. Here's what happened towards the end last night. We're gonna go backwards and then the beginning.
Aloha. I'm in Maui for the Maui Invitational, where we have 4 top 10 teams going after the Maui Invitational crown. And I'm doing the same kind of preparation for this tournament as Eli and Peyton do for the Manningcast. 0. But right after the Manningcast, you're going to have Dayton taking on North Carolina, another top 10 team. But right now, we're going to send it back to Peyton and Eli for more monosyllabic mumbling about a sadistic ground acquisition game that nobody cares about.
Thank you, Jay.
Well done, Jay Billis.
I tell you, basketball coming out hard. I mean, do we get a chance to? Is there a rebuttal? I mean, I feel like it's just they're winning. They're winning.
They're winning. We don't get a rebuttal.
Hey, Wills, Billis.
They're coming after us.
They're killing us.
That was actually good.
Yeah, it was hysterical. Go ahead, Angel. What?
No, that was actually good.
Lamar Jackson, the last 9 career games on Monday Night Football. You ready for these numbers? 165 or 239, 1,949 yards passing, 696 rushing touchdowns, 24 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That is absolutely sick. No different last night. Took a little bit to get going after the first quarter, where they were down. They were down 7-0. They were down 10-0. Then they just turned it on. Lamar Jackson, 16-22, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, they could not stop him. 140 yards on 24 carries as well. Justin Herbert, 21-36, 218 yards, no touchdowns. Dobbins, who got hurt, had only 40 yards rushing on 6 carries, a long of 17. John Harbaugh, by the way, improved to 3-0 in the Harbaugh Bowl, meaning John over Jim. Chargers, by the way, went 54 minutes between touchdowns. Gus Edwards went 1 yard left, off guard, to get them to 30-23 with 45 seconds remaining, but Baltimore's Isaiah Likely recovered the ensuing onside kick. So let's get to some of the highlights from this one. Here's Lamar Jackson, and Great rushing touchdown by him.
First down and goal. Jackson keeps. Jackson to the edge. Touchdown, Ravens. That is rushing touchdown number 3 on the year for Lamar Jackson. It took him 10 yards, and it was a typical Hill. He gets the first down, and on he goes. Inside the 10, end zone, touchdown, Justice Hill.
Yeah, that made it 30-16, and that was it. It was a late touchdown scored by the Chargers, but not enough. Chargers win thanks to the Ravens win over the Chargers 30-23 thanks to ESPN, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman with the call there. After the game, or I should say before the game, Baltimore, of course, a lot of ribbing going on. John and Jim Harbaugh both pregame interviews before Monday Night Football last night.
To describe what it's like going up against your little brother as head coaches is complicated. Just what makes it so complex?
Well, there's all the things that we love about each other. Then there's all the things that we know about each other that we have to overcome in a game like this. He's a great coach, he's a great man, great leader, and he's got a great football team. So that makes it complicated.
One thing that is not complicated is that this is a huge game, and both teams really need to win it. So thinking about that, you're going to be without the heart of your defense tonight. No Roquan Smith. Just how do you feel that void?
Well, everybody steps up and does a little bit better. The guys at that position, the guys who will be filling those positions situationally are ready to play. I believe they're going to have a great night. I think the whole team will have a great night.
All right, thank you very much, John. Thanks. Now with Jim Harbaugh, here is Laura Rutledge.
Coach, you told us no one has a better brother than you. What are you feeling as you prepare to coach against your best friend?
Oh, I love my brother, and I'd lay down my life for my brother, but I would not let him win a football game, and he wouldn't want it that way. So, it just feels cool. Feels cool. We're ready to have at it.
What's important for Justin Herbert tonight against that Ravens defense?
You know, what Justin just told the team when he called him up and broke him down, he said, let's play our brand of football, and it's a good brand of football. Love that brand of football. Let's go.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Joe.
They shared a room as kids for 16 years. And there's a lot of love and respect between those two. Going to be fun. Chargers take the field.
Here's more from John Harbaugh on what he said to his brother and opposing head coach Jim Harbaugh.
I just told him, hey, you're a great coach and you have a great team, and I love you. And he said, I love you and congratulations. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, more importantly about brotherly love, John Harbaugh went for it on a 4th and 1 from his own 16-yard line in the second quarter. Why?
Yeah, I mean, the downside is they give him the ball at the 16-yard line. That's the downside. And but the upside or the thought is that I really thought we could get it. I thought Mark could get it with the quarterback sneak, and I just thought he and Tyler and our interior offensive line. I mean, Pat McCarry just coming off the ball the way he did, and Daniel Falele coming off the ball the way they did. I thought we could get it, and they did. So hats off to them. It led to like a 90-some-yard drive and got us 7 points. That was a big turning point in the game.
Lamar Jackson played the cut early to start the show on his 40-yard pass to Rashad Bateman. Here is Lamar talking about it.
Just giving him opportunity. I believe my receivers are great. They got great hands. The first one in the back of the end zone, I told him, I'm like, bro, I expect you to catch that. He was like, I got you, But he made up for it, and he made a terrific catch. I trust all my receivers.
All right, and here's Jim Harbaugh after the game getting refocused so they can get ready to play the Falcons on Sunday.
What we're building, what we're capable of, and that what that means going forward is it bodes well for us. So back to work, regroup, refit, and get ready for the Atlanta Falcons.
All right. Now, also, Angel, yesterday, I don't know if you saw the pregame at all. If we could scroll down, and it's under my Twitter on NFL on ESPN. First time I've seen this, and the first time, and I hope it's the last time, it was fun and everything. I'm glad they did it, but I just have this feeling this kind of stuff becomes copycatish around sports and around broadcasting. It was fun. I loved it. I was watching it live when it happened. Little cutesy thing going on here. I'll just have you play the video, And then I hope this doesn't catch on and we start doing this for locally, regionally, and nationally televised broadcasts. Once is great. 500 times after this will be not so great. But here you go. It was just pretty cool last night at ESPN.
This is a week about family. By the way, congrats to the growing family. Very exciting news.
Brother.
And this just happened, or organically. There are some Raven fans who are here. It's Texie and Jake Rare is their name. They have given us the reveal. They don't know what they're having.
They don't know.
I've never been this nervous
excited.
on television.
This is awesome.
So it's on me to open this up.
Scott, don't say nothing.
I'm not.
Open it. We're going to
pass
it down. And we're going to announce it at one time.
We are going to announce this to them.
Are we going to say it's or we're just going to say
all
one word?
right, so let's see. Hold on.
It's
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
I'm excited about this. This is awesome.
Okay. You see what that is?
I got you. Here you go.
You see what that is? You see what that is?
Over like we passing notes.
We are. It's cool. We're passing notes.
Yeah.
1 second. We're fixing to tell you.
Yeah, go and slide that over.
We're fixing to tell you.
There'll be a girl dad just like Kelsey.
All right, you got it?
Keep that low. Keep that low.
Keep that low.
Oh,
Okay.
you gave me the wink. Maybe it is.
Okay,
I think
ready?
I think it is a girl.
All right.
Who's counting
on
down?
3, Marcus, you count us down.
1, 2, 3.
It's a boy!
You're having a son.
Congratulations!
This is
How
awesome.
about it? How about it?
I've never gotten to do that.
There you go. There it
There we
is.
go.
Texie and Jake Rare. Oh, this is we're bringing families together.
awesome.
It's a Thanksgiving
So cool.
miracle.
That's great.
And for everybody at home.
Congratulations.
For everybody at home, literally, this was not planned. They were standing there with a sign, and they wanted us to do a gender reveal.
And so we did.
And we did it.
And
we got time.
my man's
right. Congratulations. That is so
Yeah, that's fantastic.
great.
Happy
I told
Thanksgiving,
you
guys.
it was a
What a
boy.
blessing. There you go.
Now, I would have done a flyover. No, I mean, I'm wondering how they got the information to the producers, to the boys, to Scott and the boys over there. Because somebody had to know and get that information to the producers. Obviously, that couple did not know what they were going to have. So they didn't know. So somebody knew. I'd like to know how that whole process went down. But that was pretty cool. It's great once. I don't want to see that 500 times. It's this gender reveal stuff and these unique things. And I guess that's great. But it's like people go on TikTok and they go on Instagram and they have these unique gender reveal parties. Some of them go badly.
Oh, yeah.
People get hurt with different props and everything else. But anyway.
No, but I don't think
That's the thing now is just you gotta outdo somebody creatively for gender reveals. It's like asking people to go to the prom, and why it's become prom. When I was in school, it was the prom. Now it's prom. And don't you have all these kids now that go to the prom or prom, whatever the hell you want to call it, and the way the guy asks the girl or girl asks the guy, right? It's all these creative ways, bordering sometimes on trespassing. Which some of the signs that I've seen and props that they put in front of people's houses. I guess it's all in good fun. I mean, to each his own. I just, seems like a little over the top to me. But anyway, that's just me.
Nah, I think, you know what? It's not bad. You're right. If it's a one-time deal, because what's going to happen is once everybody gets word, then they'll go out there and want the same thing too. But a one-time type deal, maybe too, because it was Thanksgiving week. It's something cool, but I would imagine then how many notes are going to possibly come, not even for gender reveals, just like for anything in general. So if it's a one-time deal, it was nice, but it was nice to see the reaction too on live TV. So congratulations to the couple for their soon to be, hopefully, baby healthy boy.
Yeah, that's great. More football news in a second. I do want to get this in. The Tampa Bay Rays have until Sunday to declare whether they want to commit to the construction of a $1.3 billion stadium originally voted on in July. Pinellas County Court Commission chairperson, say that 10 times fast, Kathleen Peters, issued a letter yesterday to Rays President Brian Auld and Matt Silverman requesting a decision from the team. You might remember last week, Auld and Silverman wrote a letter to the county commission that suggested the team would not agree to a deal for a new stadium and is ready to work on a new solution in that area. So maybe they think a big Thanksgiving meal will change their minds.
Yep.
We'll see. What an ongoing saga that is.
It's going to be Tampa. I got a great hunch, maybe some insider information. That's going to be Tampa, right down by Ybor City.
Well, it's the logical thing. People have been talking about it that for at least 3 years, talking about that site being the case. The New York Jets, as we get back into the NFL here, the New York Jets are in trouble. They are a pathetic organization. Maybe right now you argue that they are the worst organization in all of sports. But Jets GM Mike Tannenbaum, who's founded the 33rd team, former GM Mike Tannenbaum, has been retained by the Jets to provide data analysis and experience in its searches for the two positions. The 33rd team is a media and technology company better known as a football think tank.
Okay.
Well, Mike Tannenbaum and former Minnesota GM Rick Spielman, who served as an advisor for the Washington Commanders GM and coaching searches last year, will lead the project for the 33rd team. I can't say who my sources are, and I cannot say, I'm not going to repeat the story because I think it's so over-the-top embarrassing. But when Mike Tannenbaum was the GM of the Miami Dolphins, there are stories out there that, like football 101 stuff, that any man on the street would know, that he had no clue about. He was a shitty GM for the Dolphins. I think he's okay for ESPN. I would not want Mike Tannenbaum trying to find my new coach and new GM. I just wouldn't. But good luck with that. Good luck with that. Rick Spielman, I have a lot more respect for. But Mike Tannenbaum, no. Debacles in Miami and with the Jets. I mean, why would you trust him? Why the hell would you trust him? I wouldn't.
It's going to be a super engaging conversation with Wild Thing. It's going to be terrific.
Well, no, Wild Thing's with Miami. So, I mean, but.
Oh, that's right. Thank God.
No, but it doesn't matter. And the Jets have also said they're not going to bench Aaron Rodgers, which is absolutely ridiculous. They're so stupid. It's such a dumbass organization. The Giants are catching up very quickly here. I heard Q had a hard time yesterday.
Yeah,
like I said, no, and I'm not throwing stones because because my team is full of shit right now as far as the coaching and what Gerard Mayo said yesterday and what he didn't say. It's kind of frightening what's going on with the Patriots offensive line. But they're not, hopefully there's still time to put that together. And when they're going to have to get reassign some people, cut some people, which they haven't yet, regardless. But the Giants are a freaking mess, like the Jets are a freaking mess. It must be that area in New Jersey. I think it's something in the water.
It is. It's just the armpit of America, as we always say in Philly. That is the state of New Jersey.
That's Newark.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that too. Because
you fly into that airport and you immediately have to, desanitize or you have to put more underarm deodorant on. That, I think Newark is hideous. I think the airport sucks, and that is just avoid it. There's a lot of great parts of New Jersey. There's a lot of really nice parts of New Jersey. Don't get me wrong.
There is. There's a lot of nice places in New Jersey, but when you get at the Newark airport, you have to do it like the military. As soon as you get out, you just give them the gas symbol because it stinks so bad.
It's terrible. Oh, it's terrible. And then you had yesterday that Brian Daboll spoke with Malik Neighbors on Sunday night and again yesterday morning after the rookie wide receiver expressed his frustration in that blowout 30-7 loss to the Buccaneers. Absolutely hysterical. And I'm going to play the audio from Stephen A. yesterday, reacts to Malik Neighbors. This is on, and also with Damian Woody and Shannon Sharp yesterday. Here's that exchange.
What I feel from this, fellas, is that Christmas is approaching. Thanksgiving is this week. Christmas is approaching. And I'm expecting a Christmas card from Malik Neighbors, who's going to thank me for saying what I said about the Giants last week. They stink. They're horrible. And that's what needs to be said. That's basically what he talked about. The other thing that I peeled from it is that when I'm looking at Brian Daboll, former coach of the year, who we've all said can coach, that's the first time I ever saw words from anybody associated with the New York Giants that gave me an indication. They pointed to the coach. They point to the coach, too. And they point to the GM, obviously, right? And so if we expect, and then not only that, guys, last but not least, you look at Malik Neighbors, and Doesn't that remind you a little bit of Odell Beckham Jr.? And it's like a player that's basically saying, could y'all get me the hell out of here? Could y'all get me the hell out of town? I don't want to play for this organization. I don't want to be here. This brother ain't even been there for 8 months, and he already won out. I mean, that's how bad it is. And then we have to look at the numbers, guys, and say it makes perfect sense. Since they won the Super Bowl in 2011, 0 division titles,
1 playoff
10
win.
losing seasons in 13 years. During this time, fellas, their record, 78 127-1. Fourth worst record in the entire National Football League. Only the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cleveland Browns, and the New York Jets have been worse than the Giants as a franchise in the last 13 years. 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win, 6 head coaches, 1 was an interim, 3 different general managers, okay? And obviously, 2 controversial handlings of the quarterback situation with Eli Manning and the bench in 2017. And obviously, you got what you got with Daniel Jones now. They are awful. And when you have a rookie that's looking at his talent, and we consider how violent the National Football League is, Shannon, Damian Woody, y'all know it better than me. Bottom line is this. We can't fault or fret over Malik Neighbors speaking up the way that he did, because you're literally putting your health on the line with every single play that you expose yourself to on the football field. And when you see a team bereft of common sense, bereft of leadership, don't know what the hell they're doing, everything they do ends up wrong and what have you, you are literally, this is a rookie that's thinking about his career, that's thinking about, yo, man, there's no win for me playing for this team, for this organization, on this football field, in this uniform. Malik Neighbors told the football world, can one of y'all please get me the hell out of here?
I mean, if you substituted Giants and Jets, it'd be almost the same thing. Look,
At Chewy, it's easy to fuel your dog like a champion.
I have a lot of respect for the Giants organization, or I did for a long time, even during the Super Bowl wins and all that stuff. Tremendous respect for the Mara family and how they handle things and all that stuff. But facts are facts. And it's I know they're not getting off the hook from the New York media. I get it. But the Jets get all the pub. The Jets are the right now in sports, the Jets are the worst organization in all of professional sports. That's my opinion. And the Giants aren't too far behind right now. I have way more faith in the Giants in straightening it out, and the Jets going after Mike Tannenbaum, who has failed miserably as a GM for the most part in a couple of different organizations. I have much more faith that the Giants will figure out a way to get this corrected. But right now, they stink. Absolutely stink. They stink like my offensive line for the Patriots stinks.
It's pretty
the
good.
head coach is saying some head-scratching things, no question about it. All right. Jabril Peppers, by the way, for the Patriots, removed from the commissioner's exempt list a month after his arrest. Safety, so he might be back. More from the NFL before we go to break. Jacksonville head coach Doug Peterson, speaking of sucking and how he's got a job still is beyond me, on his choices making to stay positive the rest of the year.
How big a challenge is it for a coach with 6 games left to play to keep focus, right? To keep guys dialed in. I mean, human nature takes over and your mind starts wandering a little bit. You've done this before. How big of a challenge is it for you and your staff?
It can be a challenge if you let it. And each day I walk into this building, I choose not to let it get me down. I choose to be energetic around the football team.
Choose not to run.
A message each week that I feel is important that the guys need to hear. And then of course that applies to keys to victory and different things that we do throughout the course and things we talk about as a team as the week progresses. So I know there's a lot of negativity around us, and rightfully so. We understand that. Around me, I understand that. But I choose not to listen to it, and I choose to go the other way and be positive, because you only get so many days and so many opportunities in this league, and then your days are done. And when they're done, you look back and you go, hey, I gave it everything, that I had, to these players, to this team, to this league, and that's what I choose. And I choose to go out, every single day and try to make a difference for this team.
Sure.
I choose not to coach. No. He's trying. I mean, look, pardon me, my heart goes out to him a little bit, but he's done at the end of the year too. Going to be a lot of coaches canned. A few more will get canned, I should say. A couple already have. There'll be a few more before, right after the season ends. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from Mike McCarthy. Might hear from Mike McDaniel as well, and a few other coaches also. And then we've got some college basketball news to get to. Dan Hurley lost it last night in Maui. Kind of hard to get really angry and upset in Maui, but this one, I'm with Dan on this one. It was a horrific call at the end of the game. We have the video for you, and then Coach Hurley's reaction afterwards, and a whole lot more. Again, Jay Flannelly coming up from Ann Arbor at 8:30. We'll talk a lot of college football and all the upsets that happened on Saturday. 9:05, Bill Burt will join me from the Eagle Tribune, and we'll get more into the Patriots and what was said yesterday by Gerard Mayo and the feeling around the locker room. There were reports that there were guys were kind of just laughing and giggling a little bit, and not Drake May, but some others, and something that you'd never seen in the past with the Patriots after a loss, giggling. And then Patrick Gilroy will join me at 9:30. We'll talk about the Celtics' dominating performance again last night and all the rest of the NBA. The Knicks last night against Denver, 45 assists, which I believe tied their franchise record, 45 assists. And every time, every highlight last night was a dunk. Like Denver just didn't feel like showing up at home. Mike Malone was pissed after the game as well. But every highlight for the Knicks, a dunk, alley-oop, dunk. That's all they had. That's all they did was dunk the whole game. 45 assists, and every one of those was like a dunk. It was crazy. And the Denver Nuggets just failed to show up. Ridiculous. Anyway. Kristaps Porzingis is back for the Celtics, and they look like completely unstoppable. They were a great team already. Now they're a greater team with him back in the lineup a month early, I might add. So we'll get to all of that and a whole lot more. Always enjoy your text and phone calls if you'd like at 727-858-6650. Pete Sheppard Show continues after this quick break right here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
What's been the change in Janu becoming such a focal part of the offense in the past couple of games?
I would say Janu. I think he really just the working relationship from Embo to and Frank Smith and just understanding what we're asking, and then from a coaching staff perspective, finding different ways to utilize the skill set. And
it never gets old.
Okay, Mike McDaniel and Jono Smith, who absolutely torched his former team. Basically, he's walking. I watched Mike McDaniel come down the sideline in those stupid Maverick glasses that he's got on. It's just something about him that irritates me. I can't. I don't know what it is. I mean, it has nothing to do with the fact that 2 was 7-0 against the Patriots the last 7. Nothing. There's just something about him, and I don't know. Let's see what he wears, because you know where they're playing Sunday night, Angel.
Sunday night football.
The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And guess what the temperature is going to be at kickoff at 8:20?
21.
Close, but right around that. And the Dolphins stink in cold weather. So get ready. Let's see what Maverick wears in that one. I can't stand these silly sunglasses. I don't know what it is. I look at him, I want to break out in a rash. There's just something about him that I absolutely cannot stand, and I still contend. I don't care. They will never, ever win a championship with that guy at the helm. Absolutely never.
It's between that and those capri pants, sweatshirt things. I don't know even what you call them, because it basically, he doesn't even wear like normal pants. It's almost like, I don't know.
I don't want to get into what's normal or not normal for people's attire. It's the whole package, though. It's the whole demeanor. And it's like when he speaks, I don't believe anything he says. I guess actions speak louder than words. You can't deny them. They've won a couple games, but they will never win a Super Bowl with that guy there, ever. It'll never happen. It just won't. I don't know. He just doesn't strike me as a football coach. I can't help how I feel. I see him sashay down the sideline pregame with like he said, some half-assed GQ model shoot, and it's like, fuck. No?
Yeah, maybe he takes the Cheech and Chong's edibles or whatever it is that comes across Twitter to always have something out there. Maybe he's the one of those.
I don't know. He certainly humiliated the Patriots enough. I mean, it's been ridiculous. I tip my hat to him for that. But I'm just telling you, the overall package, Dolphins will never win anything with him. Anything. And they'll be lucky to get back to the playoffs. I think they're going to get their butts kicked on Sunday night in Green Bay, where it's going to be below freezing. It's going to be fabulous. The actual frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Speaking of getting his butt kicked, but then kicking butt in Washington this week, Mike McCarthy. Now he gets to prep. This is going to be an interesting scenario, Angel, because you have the pathetic Giants coming in, totally discombobulated, to Jerry's World on Thursday at, 4:30, to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who haven't won at home this year, been outscored by over 120-something points, and haven't won at home since late last year. And in the playoffs, they got blown out by Green Bay. They've been blown out by an average like 21 points, 24 points. So this is going to be, when I do my pigskin picks tomorrow, and there'll be a whole bunch of them. There'll be like 10 college and then all of the NFL. By the way, I went 7-6 after last night's win with Baltimore. 7-6 on the for my picks in the NFL for the week, 2-3 in college. But by the way, the next 2 years are free on me. I also won my best bet, and I did win my underdog of the week. But we digress. But how the Dallas, I mean, this is a tough one to call. Dallas is favored by 4. But they are so bad at home. Could they possibly lose to the Giants? Is that possible, the way the state of the Giants are? Is that possible? I don't know. Here's Mike McCarthy talking about it.
It's a fast week. I do know that just from having the opportunity to compete on Thanksgiving. I mean, it's a great game, obviously the history of it, especially the history here in Dallas. But there's so much to do, and you have to do it in a timely fashion because, the recovery of the players is at the top of the list. I mean, that's just the way I've always approached this game. So just getting them on a routine to make sure that we get the game plan in order, but the rest of recovery is at a premium this week.
It's going to be really, really, that is a tough game to call, let me tell you. And I got it. I mean, Drew Lock's going to have to start in that game. I mean, they cannot start Tommy DeVito again. Can they? Can they be that stupid? No. Maybe because it's in Dallas. I don't know. Speaking of crazy things, Matt Eberflus talked yesterday on another blocked field goal versus the Vikings.
You guys had the blocked field goal at the end of the Green Bay game. Then what was done to address that, and why wasn't that properly corrected to the point where it happens again against the Vikings?
Yeah, I just think it's technique. It's technique. It's getting your foot down, bracing up there, staying lower. I just think it's technique, and we just have to do a better job there.
You guys, wouldn't there be more attentiveness to that, though? Why was there this lapse again? I would imagine when you lose a game that way, there would be more emphasis and focus that there wouldn't be another slip.
It was emphasized, and like I said, we just got to do better technique.
Okay. Meanwhile, the Eagles did not escape the praise of the Monday Night Football crew last night either. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman talking about Saquon Barkley.
Last night, and the 255 yards rushing. Now it's Saquon Barkley. These are updated numbers out in front in the race for the rushing title over Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to follow as we move through the remainder of this year. And congratulations, Saquon Barkley. That was quite an effort. Fun to watch. You're having a heck of a year.
The Eagles have now won 7 straight. Here is Henry. He is stopped. And with where the officials walking in, about a half yard short of a first down.
John Mara, if he had a little heartburn when Saquon Barkley left and signed with the Eagles, you can only imagine the heartburn he has watching him do what he's done.
John Mara's got to be so sick of that clip and hearing about, I'm not going to be able to sleep if he goes to Philly. Well, he's in Philly, and he looks like one of the best running backs ever to visit this planet.
And they decided to keep Daniel Jones. Now they don't have either.
Oh boy,
it was priceless. Him and Joe Sheen, it's talking about, that Hard Knocks clip. So absolutely hysterical. More about the Eagles. In case you missed it on Sirius XM NFL Radio, here's a combination: Snoop Dogg and Bill Belichick on Saquon Barkley.
He's got A.J. Brown, Smith. He's got the quarterback that can run as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much deception on that offensive side that when he does get the ball, more than likely you're not paying attention to him because you're scared of the pass or you're scared of the quarterback. And that RPO game they got is efficient, especially with him in the backfield.
Yeah, it's a really well-balanced offense. They got 2 great receivers, good tight end, good quarterback, really good offensive line. There's a lot of guys that can kill you there. And you put all your attention on Barkley. Like when I played the Giants with him there, everything was about him, even passing game. You didn't want him matched up on a linebacker, so you always had to have somebody good covering him. You had to load the box for the running game. He was a guy you had to stop and just, make everybody else beat you. But now he's such a great complementary piece. He's the centerpiece, but he's a great complementary piece to the rest of that offense.
Indeed, he is. I want to switch gears a little bit and go over to the NBA. And Angel, if we could scroll down. So last night, if we could scroll down, it's Jaylen Brown actually retweeted this and Taylor Snow, and just keep it on hold for a second while I set it up. Last night, the Celtics get Porzingis back. He plays 23 minutes, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, made an immediate impact, and Celtics went up by 28 at halftime. They won the game by 32. Everybody on the team scored last night, I believe. Jason Tatum had 20 and 9. White had 19 and 4. Brown had 17 and 6 and 4 assists. Porzingis, as I said, 16, 6 and 2. Drew Holiday, 5, 4 and 6. Didn't need him. Who cares? Pritchard was on fire off the bench. It was absolutely insane. 2 rebounds, 4 assists there. Akeda, who is really becoming, you have your favorite players that don't get all the attention. This guy is unbelievable. He blocks, he rebounds, he can shoot. 12 points, 9 boards, and 3 assists. Hauser added a couple of threes. He had 9 points last night and 2 assists. Walsh chucked up a 3. He had 5 points. Springer, a lot of you guys are going, who? Tillman and Shellerman were the only ones that didn't score. And that's the last 2 on the bench that come in only when you're up by 30. For the Clippers, Zubac led the Clippers 23 and 10. Harden had 19, 8 and 9 there. But it was all about the Celtics. averaging 52.8 points per game in the paint against the Celtics last year. The Clippers finished with 58 interior points, but made noticeable adjustments when Porzingis definitely was on the floor. Celtics were 4 from 17 from 3 in the first quarter, and then they absolutely erupted, connected on 10 of their first 13 attempts from beyond the arc, and it was amazing that went a 7-point lead after the opening 12 minutes to 19 points, and then it was all over. They finished the second quarter 12 of 17 from 3, tied an NBA record. They had 51 points in the second quarter. 51 points in the second quarter. They go on to win 126-94. But we'll get to the other highlights from the NBA in a second from yesterday. But if we could, Angel, this is the Minnesota Timberwolves on Sunday TV broadcasting crew of Michael Grady and Jim Peterson. And for some reason, either they didn't do their homework or seemed to act surprised at how the Celtics just put up so many threes and connect on so many threes. They particularly seemed upset about the way Jaylen Brown was firing threes. Listen to this broadcast from the Timberwolves on Sunday.
I think Nikhil coming off the bench is kind of better for our team scoring-wise. Jaylen Brown is not shot the ball great from outside here. He knocks down that slot 3 right there. You look at his shot chart, Michael. It is not good. It's not a green shot chart at all. It's a lot of red and a lot of white. White is league average. Red is under the league average.
By Brown. Kick out, extra pass. Brown for 3. Good.
Come on.
Career lows so far this season for Jaylen Brown.
Literally from that spot on the floor, he's 4 of 23 on the season.
Shut up.
17%.
Early heat check. My goodness. Oh, he just said, take that with you.
Keep rocking, boys. The more you rock, the more you
take that shooting charge.
JB for a 3.
Oh, man. My goodness. Brown sets up Holiday. Now it's Tatum. Over to Brown again. Oh, my.
Unbelievable. And you come into this game, literally, I would give him that shot.
Edwards stripped on the way to the cup. Jaylen Brown, hot hand, ISO at Gobert. Fires again.
Seven of 27 from that part of the floor coming into this game, 25.9%. Unbelievable.
Seems angry. Peterson seems very angry. Don't know if that was Jim Peterson or Michael Grady, the TV play-by-play. I'm just so angry for it. They nearly pulled it out. They missed a 3 at the end. They could have won the game. So, I mean, Minnesota's a good basketball team. Don't get me wrong. But the announcers in that game, I mean, I don't know why they have the nerve to act surprised. Oh, there's a lot of red, a lot of green, a lot of what. Who cares? Guy's been making shots. The whole team has been making shots. Not everybody has to be great last night. I just saw Drew Holiday last night, a very mediocre game for him. And you can have one of your starters and best, 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. Doesn't matter. They are an absolute wrecking machine. And unless something dramatic happens injury-wise, I mean, no one's going to hand you a championship. The playoffs will always be tougher. But they are just this. I thought last year's team might rival the 86 Celtics, which is arguably the best basketball team ever assembled, or at least one of the top 3 in my lifetime. This team might be better than that one when it's all said and done. I think a lot of NBA people who were around in the late 70s and all of the 80s and the 90s would agree. This team is just absolutely loaded. Absolutely loaded. All right, let's switch. Actually, let me do the NBA rundown here and play some highlights too. Orlando beat Charlotte 94-84 last night as well. LaMelo had 44 in that one. Detroit over Toronto 102-100. Here's the game winner.
4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2. Jaden Ivey from the baseline. Buries it at the horn. Pistons win. Jaden Ivey.
When you see the clock, ball was in the air. When the clock ran out, that's exactly how you wanted to execute that. Either overtime or you win it now. Jaden said, let's.
Hey, Hercules. Pistons win. You don't see that often. Indiana over New Orleans 114-110.
Short, Halliburton the rebound.
There's one guy you want to take it.
Love, yes! You can see Hallie looking on the...
Yep, thanks to FanDuel Sports Network there. It was Bennett Mathurin, a clutch alley-oop assisted by Tyrese Halliburton there. The Indiana Pacers go on to win 114-110. Dallas over Atlanta, 129-119. As you said, the Celtics clobber the Clippers, 126-94. Memphis over Portland, 123-98. The Knicks, I told you, this was a crazy game. 45 assists for the Knicks in this one. They tied a franchise record. They must have had 25 dunks in this game. The Denver Nuggets just didn't show up. They're at home. They played terrible. Mike Malone was pissed after. I'm trying to find the cut, but I don't have it right now. But they humiliated themselves last night on their home floor. They might as well not even have shown up. I'm telling you, every basket the Knicks got was a dunk. Brooklyn beat Golden State 128-120. OKC beat Sacramento 130-109. By the way, Charles Barkley has blasted the Lakers for the way they're handling Bronny James and says it's stupid. It says it's stupid. I don't have that cut either, but I'll just tell you what he said. And there you have it. Some college basketball news as well. There's lots of tournaments going on around the country. As far as top 25 action goes last night, Memphis beat UConn 99-97 in overtime in the Maui Classic. We're going to get to the highlights of that and why Dan Hurley blew a gasket. Auburn, number 4 against Iowa State, number 5, and Auburn wins 83-81. That was also at the Maui Invitational. Also at the Maui Invitational, I had some couple small shekels on Dayton last night, +9. Should have won the game, blew like a 18-point lead. Carolina comes back and beats Dayton 92-90 in overtime, but they don't cover. Arkansas clobbered Maryland East Shore 109-35. Razorbacks are ranked 19. And here at Fort Myers, at the Fort Myers Tip-Off Classic in the Beach Division, Xavier, the number 22 team in the country, beat South Carolina last night 75-66. And also yesterday, in that same arena, Dusty May made his return to Florida. You might remember him. I know Angel does. Last year, great head coach for the FAU Owls. He makes his return for the Michigan Wolverines now. And they won yesterday as well in Fort Myers. Let me see, where's the box score? I was watching some of it. Where is it? They played early. Oh, no, they played at 6 o'clock last night, so they played at 6 o'clock. Where is the final score? I cannot find it. Why can I not find my score for the Michigan Wolverines? But good job by Dusty May. He's got a big following. Great coach. He's going to do really good things out there in Ann Arbor. Speaking of that, we'll speak with Jay Flanley at the bottom of the hour. Now this is bothering me until I find this score. You're going to have to bear with me. I can't stand when this happens. Michigan State also won, by the way, 72-56. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Michigan won 75-63. Won by 12 over Vodtech yesterday in that one. Gale Jr. had 20 points for the Wolverines. All right, Angel, before we go to break, I want to show you what happened last night, also at the Maui Classic. And here's the reason that we could scroll down first and foremost to where awful announcing. This is the play where Dan Hurley, we're going to get to his video in a second, but here's the controversial play at the end of the game, an absolutely horrific call by the officials against the Huskies. You see it, Angel?
The UConn, he goes ballistic.
UConn coach Dan Hurley goes ballistic, yes.
Yippers.
Game. Caravan again. Deep one. Around and out, and McNeely called for the foul. Wow.
Ridiculous.
He took that ball right away. And you can see how Dan Hurley feels about that call. McNeely his third, and free throws for Memphis. Now watch McNeely. That's just a great rebound. I don't get that one.
And nobody gets. And we could scroll down, Angel, just a couple. There's Dan Hurley post-game press conference and talking about that particular play. Just an absolute horrific call by the officials. Right there. Thank you.
But I had a lot of issues with what went on out there.
in the game. That over the back call at that point of the game, there was no attempt to block out. There was a player on Memphis that made a half-ass effort to rebound that basketball, and Liam McNeely high-pointed that rebound. For that call to be made at that point of the game was a complete joke, all right? And then for me, I don't know what happened. I might have lost my balance by the absurdity of the call, or maybe I tripped. But if I made that call at that point, I would have ignored the fact that I was on my back. If I made that call, I would have ignored that. I would have ignored that. That was a major, obviously a major. How you could call that while that game was going on, the way that game was going on, is just beyond me. But I know, I've never seen the one ref before. I didn't even know he was a college ref. And then, you know, I'm familiar with the other two, so I'm not surprised.
UConn, by the way, had 3 players foul out in the game. Memphis attempted 43 throws, made 29. Memphis will play Michigan State today in the second round of the Invitational. UConn will play Colorado in the consolation bracket. It's just a horrible call. There's no question that that should not have been called a foul.
Yep.
Tyrese Hunter, by the way, scored 17 of his 26 after halftime, and he led Memphis to that victory. Hunter shot 7 of 10 from 3. For the Tigers, they're 5-0. They were 12 of 22 from 3. PJ Haggerty had 22, 5 assists. Colby Rogers had 19, and Dane just scored 14 as well. Memphis was up by as many as 13, about 4 minutes left in regulation. UConn chipped away. And actually, at the very end, UConn had a chance. They had a fadeaway 3 at the end to try to win it, and clanged. Dan Hurley assessed the tactical foul for his displeasure again with the back call. Liam McNeely, PJ Carr then hit 4-3. McNeely simply just took the ball away. It's really an horrific call, but we digress. All right, 1 hour down and 2 more to go. Bottom of the hour. Jay Palanley going to join me from Beeves World and up in Ann Arbor. We've got a lot of college football to talk about. Some NFL will get sprinkled in there as well. Bill Burt at 9:05 a.m. from the Eagle Tribune. We'll talk to Patriots, see what he thinks about what Gerard Mayo said yesterday. And then Patrick Gilroy, NBA insider, at 9:30. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Bill Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuggio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
First down and goal. Jackson keeps. Jackson to the edge. Touchdown, Ravens. That is rushing touchdown number 3 on the year for Lamar Jackson. It took him 10 yards, and it was a typical number 8 run.
Well, this is why the Baltimore Ravens are the number 1 red zone offense, because they have Lamar Jackson, and he's the biggest red zone weapon. That you're able to do things like this with him that you just simply can't do with other quarterbacks. And they get out, it gets a good block by Isaiah Likely on the edge.
Joe Buck, Troy Aikman with the call last night on ESPN. And yes, Lamar Jackson took him a little bit to get going, but when he did, look out. And the Baltimore Ravens in the Harbaugh Bowl go into SoFi Stadium and beat the Chargers 30-23. You know what I was thinking? They showed a little bit of it last night, Angel, because the Rams play there too in the same building as we saw the Eagles fans invade SoFi Stadium. But how about, it's too bad that the NBC crew couldn't share the equipment with the ESPN crew. NBC's got to break everything down. They were talking about last night.
Yep.
Because of the game between the Eagles and the Rams on Sunday night. So they had to wait for NBC to break all their shit down. And then the guys from ESPN got there like 1 o'clock in the morning and worked really up until kickoff, which is just absolutely crazy. You're talking like 17-hour days of doing all that stuff and setting everything up and the wires and the camera. I mean, the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on, as you well know, maybe not to that degree, but I mean, that just sucks. You almost want to say, hey, can you guys leave your stuff for a day? And then, so we don't have to do all this stuff, because it's the same camera angles basically and the same kind of setup. Maybe the pregame show is different with the studio and outside and all that stuff, but nevertheless, it's crazy how the behind-the-scenes people, how hard that they are mostly responsible for like 95% of the broadcast.
Oh, yeah. And then, everything that should be let out, the cables, nothing can be crossed. I mean, I saw it when USF had a night game, and then obviously the Buccaneers had the day game, and you had Tom Brady in town. And I saw when obviously they were waiting for USF to pull out their haulers. And then here's ABC waiting for them to be able to go in there and back it up and start setting up. So, yeah, it's a lot. I don't think a lot of people realize how much goes into just the setup for a perfect broadcast.
No question about it. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network and across the video platform. As always, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10. But not this week, only today and tomorrow. I have Monday, obviously, but today and tomorrow as well. And a huge show coming up for you tomorrow. Big show today. We'll have Bill Spiros at 8:30 tomorrow. And then at 9:15, Red Sox baseball legend Rico Petrocelli, number 6, is going to join me from 9:15 to 9:45. Special appearance by Rico. We worked together in the past. He is just a terrific man, terrific individual, Red Sox Hall of Famer. And we'll talk to him. He's involved in a few things. And we're going to talk sports and food. And we're going to save it for tomorrow. I'll preview it tomorrow as to why, but it is going to be 2 of my favorite topics in the world, right? What's better than sports and food?
Yep.
Nothing. There's always a debate, Angel, about what great sides are. I think it is, before we get back into sports here, I got to do an NHL rundown and make you cry about your Flyers last night after they blew a 3-0 lead, by the way. It's not funny. But the perfect sides, I think, is a matter of sometimes of where you live in the country, your ethnic background, and everything else. I love them all. There's nothing you could put in front of me on Thanksgiving on the whole that I am not going to eat, except for one thing. I am not a huge sweet potato guy or yam guy because I'm just not a big sweet veggie guy.
Right.
Even sweet potato French fries, not my cup of tea, even though I know it's healthier for you. But other than that, anything else is fine. When you were growing up and everything, did you have a big Thanksgiving? Was the turkey, like in my family growing up, and I think a lot of Italian families are like this, yeah, the turkey is something, but it's kind of like, it's there. And yeah. I love it. And I love dark meat. I love the dark meat. A lot of people hate it. My mother couldn't stand dark meat. I'm like, are you crazy? It's the most, and I liked it as a little kid. But the thing is to not get so stuffed with appies before you sit down for sort of the main course, that you don't want to take. I mean, you got the Lions and the Bears coming up on Thursday at 12:30. You don't want to be napping by 1:15, right? Especially if you're eating later in the day.
Oh yeah.
How was it when you were growing up? Do you eat early, late, midday?
No, we ate late because the whole thing was, I mean, and not super late, but because it was always a party. When you went to the house, you had music, a very, very few appetizers for that reason, because we didn't focus that much on the turkey. I mean, it was there, don't get me wrong, but it was everything else that came along with it. I mean, the sides, the whole 9 yards, it was good times. But now I would say about 7, 8-ish. And then we had some
really?
music.
That's really late.
Yeah, well, that's because you can't remember, it was a humongous family, so everybody would come and show up, and by the time to get, because at the way it used to work was, let's just say if my mom hosted one Thanksgiving, then her 2 other sisters would come over there and help mom out and prepare, but then everybody else from the family would bring their own dish. So by the time they prepared for it, because some folks worked on Thursday, so that's why it was later in that day. But the cool thing about it though was, because after you were done eating, I would say about 9:30. Then we play some more music, kind of relax a little bit, and then all the fabulous desserts used to come out about 11 o'clock. It was it was a great time, because then barely no one worked on Fridays, so that's why it made it even better.
Wow, Rick says, say we opened up with homemade ravioli. Yeah, we always had pasta. There was always some sort of homemade pasta, not overly done, but there's always antipasto. There's always a pasta. I mean, stuff. Appetizer stuff, whatever. Not to mention all the nuts and fruits. And I mean, it was just like ridiculous. Between when I was younger, real young, growing up, we hosted at our house. Then my cousin Patricia, who's just amazing, what she does what she did for years and still does on Thanksgiving and on Christmas. Absolutely, when we have the Pesce di Sette, the feast of the 7 fishes, phenomenal. But I think people get carried away with what is like acceptable appies or what isn't. I like it. I don't care. I mean, if it's casseroles of some sort or mac and cheese, who cares? It's to each his own. I like it all. I like it all. There's no set way to do it.
Correct. Like there's that, to me,
Whatever makes you happy. I feel like if you're having peanut butter and jelly, you're having peanut butter and jelly.
Yep. That's the way I see it. Like, I don't think they're like, I know some people, you got, cornbread, mac and cheese, rice, you name it. But to me, it's the same way. If you're bringing something to the table, bring it could be a bowl of friggin' Fruit Loops. If that's what's going to make everybody happy, it makes everybody happy. That's it.
I'm bringing a caprese salad, amongst other things. I mean, we're bringing like 3. We're actually going across the street to our wonderful neighbors, Rob and Kim across the street. So are our other neighbors. Everybody, our whole section of the hood is going to Rob and Kim's, which is I'm going to have to take an Uber to go about 50 yards across the street.
That's okay.
Everybody's bringing some all good stuff. I mean, it's fantastic. I'll take a picture of it.
No, listen, I'm breaking in. As soon as I go from my mom's house,
you're going to be down here anyway.
Yeah, I'm jumping the fence. I'm going to go down there. So I'm going to rate it.
Your name's at the gate, so Debbie can get in.
I just tell them immigration. I'm here. Give me some food. By the way, Gaston guy says we used to have turkey, but we also made ham and tamales, and we would eat about 6 and then have a little party together about 9:30. Like, Angel, I have some desserts, drink some coffee, and then party the rest of the night. See, Gaston guy, because it's the same way, same fruit, same ethnicity. So that's what it was. I'm telling you, Christmas time, I will tell you, the party and into New Year's mostly. The party will not stop until 5 a.m. This is now back in the day. So
Christmas
you had dinner.
That's what it was like in our family, and I never really made it. We played cards like after midnight until 5 a.m. Or sometimes I'd make it, but Christmas Eve was the big day in the Italian family. Christmas Day was like sort of chill.
Yeah, and see, for us, we would party until like 5 a.m, and then because you had the continental breakfast about 2 a.m. And then you go back downstairs into the basement. Yes, folks in Florida, you guys miss out on when we talk about the basements. But we used to go down to the basement until 5 a.m. Then the music was stopping and the full breakfast was on at 6 a.m.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. And then, my goal is to try to make it to halftime of the Miami Green Bay game at Lambeau Field, which would be about, 9:10, 9:30. That's my goal. I won't take a nap, obviously, in the middle of the day. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially there's a lot. I think there's 14 of us going to be at my friend's house tomorrow on Thursday. And that's a lot of people. And that's a lot. I think a lot of people. And when our entire family was together on Thanksgiving and New Year's, it'd be maybe a little bit more than that, but still, it's arguably the greatest holiday of all time is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it really is. It's just about family and friends and getting together and just, just stuffing yourselves. And but there's got to be, I've really learned how to pace myself, especially, you don't want to go heavy on the carbs early on because then you got the tryptophan and the turkey afterwards and all that. And of course, the best part about turkey is next day turkey or late night turkey sandwiches. Right. I mean, what's better than that? Although if you're eating at 8 o'clock, that's a different story. What now? When you eat at 8 o'clock this Thursday as well?
No, it'll be much earlier. Yeah, it'll be. You figure because half the family. I mean, most of the family's still up in New England, up in Massachusetts. So it won't be. It'll be like the neighbors. My cousin from my stepfather's side of the house, but it was. It'll probably be, I would say about maybe 5, 6. It won't be late at all. It'll be towards the evening hours, like in the early evening.
Well, and the thing is too, and sports related, anybody from New England knows that football is huge on Thanksgiving Day, Angel. Huge in New England. And I don't know if it was that way in Pennsylvania. I don't know how big it is in Pennsylvania on Thanksgiving Day, but in New England, particularly in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, it is huge. Now, Rhode Island's already concluded. My high school, by the way, Bishop Hendrick, and congratulations again. Whip it up on LaSalle again and winning their 19th, not consecutive, but their 19th state title and send a lot of kids to D1 and then some going on like Quiddy to the NFL. And others. So congratulations to my Bishop Hendrick High School Hawks. But and now when I was a kid growing up, I was like, oh, okay, everybody in the country plays on Thanksgiving Day, but that's not the case. And the games are usually around 10 o'clock in the morning, all of them. And I had to work many of them at the beginning of my career doing play-by-play for various high school teams, which I always enjoyed. There's something really cool about Thanksgiving Day football in New England that, down here in Florida, I mean, awesome teams. I mean, it's unbelievable. But it's too bad more schools don't play on Thanksgiving Day. A lot of times the playoffs are already going on, or sometimes in some states even decided already. But did you were you in high school then for Thanksgiving up there?
I was in for Thanksgiving. My sophomore through senior year, I was up in Springfield.
Yeah, so you know what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was huge. Even our household, it was the same way too. We watched the games. I mean, it was huge. Our high school, I'm trying to think. Our high school didn't play because Central High School, which was down the street from us, or Commerce, one of the two, they were the two that were alternate. So we would go, even though we were the rival high school, but we would still go and watch the game regardless. Because that's when it isn't like today. Today, everybody just getting ready to freaking kill each other. For us, it was just easier if we just went over there and watch them, because then we watched what they were doing and we would just kill them next week in football. Yeah. So it was good times.
But man, I remember broadcasting some games on Thanksgiving Day and be like seriously like 10 degrees. I had equipment freeze up on me. Stuff. I broadcast one Thanksgiving Day game. I had to go on top of climb a tree and broadcast from a tree branch. I think I told you that before.
Yeah.
One time on top of a school bus.
Yeah, I remember that.
Another time on top of a stanchion, and it started to icy rain. I mean, really fucking cold, like really. It was early Thanksgiving too. It was like the 22nd, one of those weird. Oh my God! And you can't feel anything, and all you're wishing for is the game to end. And especially, I think it was Foxborough and Walpole I was doing. This is back in 1989 or 90.
Right.
I think the final score was 7-0. I can't remember who won. I want to say it was Walpole that beat Foxborough. But it was such a horrific game filled with a gazillion penalties. And just the conditions of the field and the cold, there were fumbles, and there must have been 20 exchanges on the field. And not only was the game live, and it was being simulcast, not video, but audio on the local cable station. Plus, I had to tape it for another radio station on the side. That froze. The equipment froze, and it was like it was absolutely freaking brutal. And I remember my hands were just, everything was numb. I remember climbing down the little stanchion and I couldn't feel anything. I remember dipping my hand. Somebody gave me a hot chocolate. I put my fingers in the hot chocolate. It's what you shouldn't do when you got frostbite, even though I had gloves on.
Yeah,
I was so concerned about the equipment, freezing up. It was fun. I mean, I wouldn't trade any of those days in my broadcast career for anything because it made me respect how much. Plus, I knew how to rig phone lines like you couldn't believe. Back in the day, you used to have. When you did local high school broadcast, everything was done over the phone, and not cell phones, old-fashioned phones. We would have to run like huge cords from usually the AD's office at the particular high school or whatever field you're at. I mean, sometimes a good quarter of a mile or more to the stands or wherever you thought you could broadcast from. A lot of times in the stands if places didn't have press boxes, and I thought I should go work for the phone company when it was all said and done. I was like, this is easy, but you had to make, you're connecting, the clippers to the phone in the AD's office, and you're making sure nobody has to step. You got to have, and there's no assistants. It's you and your partner. You're going to tape all the shit on the grass and everything, and from the parking lot. I'm like, and we didn't think anything. Like, what are you doing? A couple times we had to leave. One of us had to leave and go to Radio Shack and get more phone wire because we didn't have enough to stretch, but. It was crazy, crazy times that I cherished them all. But man, there was some nutty things that happened on Thanksgiving Day, and in my broadcast career early on, with setting up play-by-play stuff, doing high school, whether it was football, hockey, basketball, crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story here as soon as because Rick says, "What's the story about Mayfield suing his father about?" Breach of contract. Breach of contract. Something his dad did, set it up, and it was a breach of contract. Yep.
Because as a leg or breast guy, Pete, I like them both. I like any dark meat. I'm all for gravy. I don't like everything smothered and mushed, Then you have the argument about stuffings. What should be in it? And I like it all. And some Italian families have an oyster stuffing, which I love.
Yep.
Other people, you hear oyster and they don't know what they're missing. But all stuffings. I've never had a stuffing in my life where I go, God, that sucks.
No.
Except maybe in a restaurant once.
You can take Rick's question. Of course, you can spin it the other way. You look at exactly the one thing because I know we got to go to break and then Jay's coming up. But in Philly, in recent years, they decided to start a new tradition. So obviously, the high school games that play on Thanksgiving, they make it a gun-free zone day. So therefore, there's no shootings or anything else. So what they do is when you walk in the gate, they actually give you the bullets. Therefore, you can throw it at the other person, so you're not actually hurting them with the gun.
What? Are you serious?
No.
Oh, goodness. How could I fall for that? Even their plastic bullets. Before we go to break, quick NHL rundown. Washington over Florida 4-1. They haven't beaten the Panthers in a long time. Tampa Bay over Colorado by a score of 8-2 in that one. And New Jersey over Nashville 5-2. St. Louis over the Rangers 5-2. Philadelphia had a 3-0 lead against Vegas, but
for Jack Eichel. Here he comes. 2 points today for Jack Eichel. He goes way wide left. The righty comes to the middle. He shoots. He scores off the right post and home. And the Knights have a 1-0 lead in the second round. We'll go to the third round. And Philadelphia must score here. Owen Tippett will be the last hope for the Flyers. If he does not score, the Knights win. If he does score, the Knights will have a chance to steal it in the bottom of the third. Tippett, the righty, goes wide left on Samsonov. To the middle, fakes, save! Samsonov seals Tippett, and the Knights, for the fourth time in franchise history, erase a 3-goal deficit and come out with 2 points. 5-4 in a shootout. Ilya Samsonov slams the door on all 3 shooters for Philadelphia. Jack Eichel is the shootout hero. After a goal and an assist in regulation, the Golden Knights have won 3 in a row for the first time this month. And what a road trip it's turning into.
Chelmsford, Mass's own Jack Eichel and BU. Does Philadelphia go to overtime in every single game? It's unbelievable. Carolina over Dallas 6-4 in that one. And Ottawa over Calgary 4-3. Detroit doubled up the Islanders 4-2. Winnipeg over Minnesota 4-1. And then Seattle beat Anaheim 3-2.
And maybe you get a bounce, and now maybe this will lead to another one there for Berkey. Back to the point. Montour scores! A bomb from Montour, and the Kraken take the lead early in period 3.
Yeah, they go on to win 3-2. All right, Angel, quick break. Let's just do the good spots. And then Jay Flanley is going to join us from Ann Arbor, from Beavs World. Got a lot to discuss in the college football world and some NFL news as well. Pete Sheppard Show continues here on a Tuesday, November 26th on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish, now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
And guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Bill Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree, yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
You and I talked 2 SEC media days ago, and you made the comment. You said, got to keep you out of the outfits. You got to get Peter to dress up. I want to make sure. Let me show you what Peter looked like last week. We're in the Florida band outfit. How'd you feel in that, PB?
You know what? I felt like a man that I felt liberated to a certain extent. Yeah, the streak was over. I mean, Billy, you got to understand that during tweets about maybe once a month, right? He must have tweeted 15 times about me being Gator bait, me dressing up in that outfit, and then even more so this week after that big win against Ole Miss. So what was that like to see that just now?
Well, look, I mean, I think I feel the pressure every time I see Chris, and I just visualize him in that LSU gear, and I want to help the guy out, right? So, yeah, that was part of our agreement when we got here, and I'm glad we were able to follow through.
That's Billy Napier, head coach of the Gators, reacted to Chris Doering finally winning the annual Florida LSU bet. against Peter Burns from the SEC in the morning, and I got to tell you, it was hysterical to see Peter dressed up in the Florida Gator band. Peter, of course, an LSU grad. That Jay Flanley, of course, you know him from Beaves World and up in Ann Arbor. Great stuff. Love the SEC Network. Love the banter back and forth.
I do too.
It's just absolutely hysterical. But Peter in that outfit earlier, late last week was absolutely hysterical. Good morning. How are things in Ann Arbor?
It's clearing out. The kids are going home, and it's a road game, so that adds to it. But it's pretty interesting. Of course, Lions Thursday, which is the biggest story around here, period. And it's a fun time of year. It's a fun time of year, and obviously, big up kick with the Underwood thing, which you and I discussed all last week.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah, and so far, again, the big question is: does Brian Kelly going to get canned at the end of the year? But there's 60-odd million reasons why he may not get canned at the end of the year. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
What are you hearing, Pete? What are you hearing?
Nothing. Nothing. I'm not hearing anything. And I missed him yesterday. I usually watch him on Feinbaum every day, every Monday. He graciously, whether you like him or not, he comes on and answers Paul's questions, usually around 3:30 yesterday, or 3:15, 3:30 yesterday. He didn't come on until 4:30, and I kind of forgot about it. I listened. I usually watch the first hour, and I listened to it. And George says he's listening in Aruba. Okay, George, nice. So I have not heard anything. I don't know if you've heard anything about it. I think if he lost Vanderbilt, definitely. But he won that game.
What I have heard, that was a big win for them, because if he did lose that game, he would be fired.
And Vanderbilt's good, as we know.
Like if a certain coach loses at three games Saturday, it starts at noon. He's gone at 3:30. His name might rhyme with Ryan Day. It's interesting, but I have heard a couple things that if he leaves for another job, suppose he signs with, say, East Carolina. That's the old video, the joke of him, the parody. If he's going to, say, East Carolina.
By the way, they just took the interim tag off their coach, and so he's now so that's out.
Almost like I knew that when I said that, Pete.
I'm sure you did.
But I don't like to endanger other people's jobs.
I do.
Well, I know you and I. Yes, you're old school. Yes.
No, I don't want to see anybody fired, endangered. But I mean, anyway, go ahead.
Well, as somebody who lost one of his jobs that provides 60% of his income this year, this isn't a really fun topic for me. Yeah. But no, I think what I've heard is if he does go to another job and voluntarily leaves LSU, whatever they're paying him comes off the $60 million. So he signs for like 45 to go somewhere else. They only own 15. And they would negotiate. It's kind of like a buyout. He wants to leave, like what Calipari did to leave Kentucky to go to Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's a similar type of thing. Where Calipari obviously was told, hey, you're probably going to get fired soon if you don't win, so you should probably leave. And that's how a lot of these things work. So it's interesting to see. But I don't think he's going to be the coach there long term. I mean, I would say, here's the thing. Here's a date. December 4th is signing day. Now, he's already lost Underwood, and he's going to lose other players off his group because of Underwood and other kids defecting. I mean, Underwood's going to take a couple of his guys. A couple of the other guys he took and go to other places. So it's going to be really interesting. But I do not think he'll be the coach. I would say by around December 10th, he'll be gone. That's just my feel.
I wonder who they go at. But it's still, it's the $60 million is a lot, and that is a lot. But you said
I can live off that, Pete. I mean, I'd give you a percentage. I mean,
I would have 0.5%. I'd be happy with that, Jay. I'd be happy with that. I wonder who would they go after.
It's like the joke about Tommy's TV deal. I would take 0.10. The $350 million or what he got for the Fox deal.
Yeah. That's going to be another interesting scenario. Maybe we'll get to it afterwards about when the season is done and the influence that he's going to have over their coaching if it's spelled anyway. But what a day in college football! I love the chaos.
Pete, I got to just say one thing. I saw in the column there, Rick N was asking about the Baker Mayfield thing. Have you talked about that?
Just briefly. I know it was a breach of contract by his dad, right?
So basically, let me explain. I believe Baker was in business with his brother and his dad. And they screwed up. They blew the money.
I believe his stock market or some investment. Like back in the day, the mink farms and the other ripoffs they had back in the day, bad business deals. You see this a lot more than you hear. A couple hockey players have had it happen. Famously, Bobby Orr.
That was
Yeah.
his Eagleson. I mean, his agent.
Eagles. Yes, that's the most famous one.
But I liken this more to like as far as dysfunction stuff, like Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
And he hasn't talked to anybody.
Yes, that's a great comp. Yes, and you had the famous agent in the late '90s, early 2000s, Tank Black, who had Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Fred Taylor, Javon Curse, a lot of Florida guys, and he was just. It was like a Ponzi scheme, like Bernie Madoff, basically. So that's what's going on. Baker, financial business deals with his family, and they ripped him off. And this type of stuff happens way more than you think, by the way.
Oh, I know. Just so you don't hear about it a lot.
We saw that, and I wanted to talk about it, but let's go to college football.
I know, exactly. But real quick about Bobby Orr, because George Coombs, who used to teach in my high school, Bishop Hendricken, back in the day, I didn't have him for a teacher. He's retired now. He says he's listening in Aruba. So I hear my Bobby Orr story about how's that connect to
I love Bobby Orr.
To Aruba. Oh, I love
Well, Russ Conway, the guy who broke the story, is from my Eagle Tribune. That's my local newspaper.
Russ is one of my favorite people in the world.
Rest in peace. Great man. Great man.
Absolutely was. We had many conversations. And
I know you have Billy on. You're having Billy on later?
Yep. And Russ, there was nobody better than Russ sitting there with his foot up on the chair, fist under chin, ready to berate Steve Casper, whatever. I mean, but very subtly. He basically would say, "Why do you really fucking suck?" without saying, "Why do you really fucking suck?" You know, that was right. I mean, he was just classic. And
so he was basically the sports editor when I was growing up, and I used to call the talk-in shows. And he was a big supporter of me before I was me. And he kind of helped me. I give him credit for discovering me. And that's how I know Billy Burt, who's now the sports editor, is a great guy, and he's coming up later here in a little bit.
Well, getting back to my original point about in Aruba, and I don't know where you are, George, but I love Aruba. I've been 11 times, and speaking Papiamento, and I love how in Aruba that when I first went there in 1989, I believe, and you hear all the women and the receptionists and everything, and then everybody's, hello, douchey, hello, douchey, hello, douchey. And I'm like, what is that? And mi douchey in Papiamento means my sweetheart. So you hear a lot of people in Aruba say mi douchey, hello, douchey.
Yes.
But my one real quick. So I'm downtown Arnstad, and I didn't do a lot of shopping in Aruba, but I went down, and I don't know why I stumbled into this music store. I don't know why. I wanted another cassette from my Walkman at the time for the plane ride home or whatever. I can't remember. On the back of the door of the manager's office is a life-size photo of Bobby Orr in a Blackhawks uniform. Oh, and I went, oh my God! I mean, one of those big ones, And I went, no. I can't have it. So I said, I'll give you $10. No. 20. No. He settled for, I gave him $50. I am not kidding you, Jay. My right hand of God. I went out. I said, give me your lighter, please. I bought a cigar in there as well. And he said, give me a lighter. And I took it outside, just lit it on fire in the trash, and said, nobody is going to see that ever, 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 ever. And I know some other people have had the same experiences. Do you know there's a Bobby Orr pinball machine with him on a Blackhawk uniform? Do you know that?
I heard about this.
Oh.
So obviously, because of who you are and who you used to work with, Glenn, you've probably spent a million days in the old floors by the Garden, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do our show from there.
Explain to people what the floors is that aren't from Boston.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, the Forest, unfortunately, actually, did we do our show from there? I think we did one. We did more so up the street.
But Glenn did a lot of stuff.
We did it. I was there after almost every Bruin and Celtic game, especially when I lived in the North End for a decade. I lived right up the street. So it didn't matter. We were all there afterwards. So, yeah, the Forest people were just fantastic.
The famous sports bar that Bobby Orr owned, and he believe he sold it to Gary Doak.
Yes.
And now it's like the Boston Bears Club or whatever.
Yeah, they all went out of business, unfortunately. Had to change the name.
During COVID.
Yeah, during COVID, like a lot of places did, unfortunately. All right, let's get into more college football. Number 5, Indiana loses. Alabama, number 7, loses. Ole Miss loses. Number 9, 14, BYU loses. 15, Texas A&M lost. Number 16, Colorado lost. Number 19, Army lost. Which brings me back to my point we're bringing up next week. There is so much parity now in college football. There is not, you cannot tell me that teams like Miami and SMU and a couple of others cannot go up against these SEC so-called and Big Ten powerhouses and win. It's absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Miami plays defense. I know what's they play defense like they did in the second half last week. They're going to be tough for anybody to beat them. I'm telling you right now, because their offense is unstoppable. It's just a question of in the first half they gave up a couple of big chunk plays again, particularly on 3rd and 15, I think it was, and then they let a special teams kickoff return come back for a touchdown. After that, they blew Wake out of the forest, blew them literally out of the forest. I mean, they dominated, outscored them 22-0. But it's not just them; it's SMU and possibly even Clemson. Clemson is not the same team that lost to Georgia in the beginning of the season.
No,
and I cannot wait to see when the seedings and the rankings are going to come out tonight. We'll find out what happens. I guarantee you Arizona State is going to replace BYU with 12. Boise State's going to stay at 4. Miami's going to be 3. 1 will be Oregon still. 2 is going to be Texas. 3 will be Miami. And then you have a team like Penn State in the rankings, not the scene, the rankings, still probably going to be 4th, even though coulda, woulda, shoulda, but still should have lost to the Gophers. Should have lost the game. You cannot tell me Penn State is ranked 4th. That they would beat Miami or even SMU. I refuse to believe.
Might be the 4th best team in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
might be the 4th best team in the Big Ten, and the fighting field goals, James Franklin. No, it's one of the things you just said, and it's a great point. When you think about the transfer portal and NIL, Caleb Downs leaving Alabama and going to Ohio State, and he had the huge punt return in the game. We just stole the kid from LSU. Mm-hmm. What's happened now is everybody has money and resources now. It's out in the open. There's no more under the table stuff that we knew about for years going back, Eric Dickerson, Craig James, and SMU, and all this stuff.
Nothing. You think about that documentary, and I urge people to go back and watch it. And when you look at the really stupid alleged violations, some of them were just childish.
Oh, yeah.
You would think like they murdered people or something.
Oh, I know.
But
Pete, here's the point: they were a non-traditional power that became a power, like what Indiana just did. That's part of why Day ran the score up on them at the end of the game.
Yep.
He wouldn't do that to us. Well, first of all, he can't do it to us because we kick his ass. But he can't. That's hey, you go sit in the corner. This is what like Boise State had to deal with when they first got good. Yep. And any of these up and coming teams that have come out of nowhere to be good. And Indiana, I think, will be sustainable because the Seghetti's there. They have a really good NIL program, but it is balanced out. I mean, keep an eye on my man Bill O'Brien at Boston College. He's got a little money, and he ran off that doofus as quarterback. And
they're in the crap out of North Carolina Saturday. I mean, they really. I thought Mac Brown was retiring, and now he says he's coming back. But finish your point.
Well, no, I think it's if you invest and spend and you want to have a winning program, it's sustainable now. And the other underrated part of this, and I don't think it gets enough credit, is the collapse of the Pac-12. Because what's happened now, all those old West Coast teams where there's tons of players in Los Angeles, in about the last 30 years or so, Oregon and Washington were getting a lot of their players anyways, particularly Oregon, where those teams are now in the Big Ten and the Big 12. So that kind of brings the country in more. The East Coast is what it is. I don't take Penn State seriously as long as they have that doofus as their coach field goal. And BC's okay. Syracuse, Pittsburgh, the teams we grew up watching. Clemson's awesome. Virginia Tech's up and down since Coach Beamer retired. The league is different. Miami and Florida State, kind of up and down. Your team's much more sustainable now with Manny there. And it's just different. But I think a lot of the country, from the coast in, is where college football is. And I think with the money now and everything being sustained and more out in the open, big TV controls everything. And I think you're seeing more parody, as you just said.
Yeah, and the other thing, these people who are criticizing the committee, and I've been one of them for a couple of not severely yet.
It's early though. Remember that it's not officially done yet.
I criticized them not for the seating. I think they've been spot on with the seating. Their rankings, they're off their rocker with some of the stuff that they have in there. But look, it's going to happen. But overall, and people who on the SEC and ACC network, and a lot of people at ESPN, you're going to have to realize it's not a perfect system. It's not going to be a perfect system. I think we talked about this last week. March Madness is not a perfect system. You don't have the top 68 teams.
Even with 64 teams.
That's 68
games.
Well, we've seen playing games. People go to the Final Four. I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah. But it's not a perfect system. It's not going to be if there was 16 teams, 28 teams, or 50. There's always going to be bitch and moan. This is the chaos, Jay, I've been wanting for a long, long time. And when you have a whole bunch of SEC teams lose, and I picked Florida to keep it close in that game. They were one of my top picks on Friday's show.
It made you proud, Pete.
Made me proud. And Billy Napier.
I love Billy Napier, by the way.
Yeah, everybody. Now you love him. Nobody loved him.
No. The thing with him and Pat McAfee before the game, where he had the $1 million throw for the Hurricane. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes. No, that was great.
That was cool. He's a good dude. I like him.
Oh yeah. No question. I mean, there's a lot of good dudes. Watch Lane Kiffin, and then the Alabama people who want Nick Saban back after that was a horrible loss. Jalen Milroe looked like he looked awful.
An undraftable prospect.
I would think if we saw highlights, if we didn't see the colors and the names on the back of the uniform and the A on the helmet, I would go, what is that? That was awful. So I don't want to hear Alabama, in my opinion, they're done. With 3 losses. I think it's going to be very difficult for a 3-loss team to get in. Georgia might have the only case if it happens. I mean, they're not there yet, but it's going to be interesting to see, and that'll be the big debate tonight. I guarantee it'll be speculations in the future. Can a 3-loss team from the SEC get in? That'll be the big question to the playoff.
I think Georgia would have a better case than most because they played Clemson,
and they won at Texas.
Yes, so
handily.
Yes, but here's the other thing. Then you look at like the Big 12. Pete, don't they have 9 teams that can make the championship game?
Well,
I saw that stat.
Well, I did. Yeah, there's a lot of things that could happen. A lot of if-buts, wins, maybes, and it's going to be very difficult for Colorado. And I'll give Coach Deion Sanders. I refuse to say Coach Prime. I'll give Coach Deion Sanders all the credit in the world for calling out his team, saying we fumbled our opportunity.
Yep.
And they got blasted. What is amazing to me in the Big 12?
My man at Arizona State.
No, we'll get to that in a second. How did Kansas lose any games this year? They beat everybody. I mean, they beat they beat Iowa State. They beat BYU last week.
Who they lose to?
And last week they beat Colorado. That's a good question. I think they lost to Kansas State. Hang on, let me.
Okay, that's right. When Kansas State was good at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I gotta
look that up here.
I am. Just give me 2 seconds here.
Get my yogurt in when you're looking it up.
Yeah. Okay. So
that league is crazy, by the way. The Big 12.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, they started off seriously. How did this happen? They lost. They beat
like Delaware State or somebody, didn't they?
They beat Linwood, whatever that was, 43. They lost at Illinois, 23-17. They lost at home to UNLV when UNLV was pretty good, 23-20. They lost at West Virginia, 32-28. They lost at home to TCU, 38-27. They lost at Arizona State, close, 35-31. They whipped Houston at home, 42-14. This is where they've won 4 of the last 5.
Their schedule, by the way.
They lost at Kansas State by 2, 29-27, and they've won all the rest of their games. They won at number 17, Iowa State at home, 45-36. They've won at home against they won at BYU, 17-13, and then won at home last week against Colorado easily, 37-21, and they're probably going to beat Baylor. I mean,
Baylor's kind of down, right?
Illinois, they lost 5 games in a row. Illinois, UNLV, West Virginia, TCU, and Arizona State. And then they've basically.
But every one of those teams is making a bowl, I believe.
Maybe, yeah. What's T? Let's see. TCU is actually. I just had it up there.
Pete, look at my sweatshirt, and we're not allowed to talk about TCU.
TCU is 5-3.
I cracked up last night. If you're watching the Ravens Chargers game, and near the 6-7 minutes left, and the Chargers have a big third down, and Jim ran the exact same play TCU used to beat us with Quentin Johnson, except Quentin Johnson dropped the ball, hit him right in the hands. Remember this, the crossing route?
Oh, yeah.
Hit him right in the hands. That was the exact play that TCU used to beat us in the playoffs 2 years ago. And I sat there and I said, at least Jim Harbaugh has a sense of humor. But, I mean, it's like his team, they need somebody who can catch the ball to go to play for the Chargers. They drop so many balls, and you just can't have that level. Quentin Johnson, I think, dropped about 5 balls.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he makes me miss N'Keal Harry.
Or Aguilar.
Well, sorry, I did that to you, Pete. Sorry. Where is he? He's on somebody's practice squad right now, by the way, I believe.
Yeah, and Aguilar's playing well too. He dropped his share of passes as well, but doesn't anymore.
How's DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Deontay Johnson, and all the other guys doing? They could have drafted instead of numbnuts.
Please, and we'll talk to Billy Burke coming up in a little bit. I couldn't believe the response from Gerard Mayo yesterday. I played it. He basically came out and said after that pathetic offensive line performance, I mean, it's so frustrating to watch. I feel so bad for Drake May, not because of the sacks, because of the penalties or anything. I mean,
the unforced error type thing.
Like 8 of them, just ridiculous. And how do you tight end lining up? How do you line up offside that badly? It was awful. It was like a 1.5 line up, stuff like that. And Gerard Mayo basically came out yesterday during his press conference and on the local radio show and said that
your old station.
I don't trust my backups. Then cut them and get somebody who can freaking play. There's no accountability at all with that team. There's none. I'm so pissed.
Pete, I hate to tell you this, but he's not the guy.
No, he's not. And I hate to do that because they put up the stat about, Parcells was 1-10 after, which I thought was they put up the.
He won 2 Super Bowls for God's sakes with the Giants.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other extenuating circumstances. This whole coaching staff, I don't know how people have not been cut or waived. I would have had the offensive line out. I would have been like Herb Brooks, in the middle part of Miracle. Again. Start doing suicide all the way up and down the field. And the last person who pukes, that's when you can stop. Again. Just absolutely unbelievable. It's just so frustrating.
You would be at the stadium. You back in the day covering the team would be at the stadium, the hill that Bill had made.
Yeah.
The hill. Oh my God, that's a whole other story. Bill had that hill made.
I do this all the time. This is another guy I wish was there.
Wake up!
Yes, sir.
Wake up!
Yes, sir.
Cook the spinach to order, you lazy cow. Hurry up!
Yes, sir.
Fuck off!
Watch my stuff, please.
Get in there! What's wrong with you?
Nothing, sir.
Look at me. Hey, look, you ignorant bitch. Look at my fucking eyes when I'm talking to you.
Yes, sir.
What's wrong with you?
I'm trying to work, Chef. I'm trying to communicate.
Get out!
Wake up! What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Yeah. Get up, Griff.
Yeah.
Hey, hello, come here, donkeys. Here we go.
See?
Come here.
This is what this team needs.
It's all right.
What is that? What is that? What is that? Fuck off, will you? Fuck off. Okay? Useless fucking pieces of shit. Raw! Shit! Fucking shit!
2 salmon, 1 tagliatelle.
Fine dining! A fine fucking mess! Madam!
Yes, sir.
Take your jacket off and fuck off!
Please.
And that's what I need. You. Get out.
So
ridiculous.
Just out of curiosity, because you used to cover the Bruins heavily. your
Yep.
buddy Pat Burns. And
Yep.
you also used to cover the Patriots. Did you ever see a temper tantrum like that at practice with the coach?
At
You probably
practice,
did with Pat Burns. You probably did with Pat Burns.
no. I mean, at practice, I wasn't at a lot of practice. I was at a lot of morning skates, and morning skates are kind of mellow.
Same thing, yep.
I wasn't at a lot of practices per se.
What about football?
Outside of morning skates. No, football. I don't know. I've never seen.
Well,
I've never seen
you and
I've seen. I saw Pat Burns get upset. Cuckoo Keenan was a nut. You know, when he
Yes.
coached the Bruins for a little bit, even though he won a Stanley Cup with the Rangers, but his nickname was Cuckoo Keenan. I think through the biggest fit that I saw all those years in the lot, probably Patino, the night of everything. All the negativity in this town sucks. Max asked him a question.
Larry Bird's not walking through the door.
Yeah, that's probably the best tirade I witnessed live. Was that one?
Well, you were there watching that?
Oh, I was covering the team. I had to cover. They both, the Celtics and the Bruins, both sucked that year.
Yeah.
Were terrible. The Bruins had Steve Casper. There were like 5,000 people come to the Garden, and the worst thing that ever happened to that Celtics team was they came back from 20 opening night with Patino at the helm and beat the Bulls.
Yep.
On opening night, and then everything went downhill from there. But I was absolutely there that night of that. I was also, one of my favorite ones was the night the Lakers came in the night before Thanksgiving and killed the Celtics by like 25 that same year. And he just came to the podium, picked up a piece of paper, and he's like, "We weren't very good tonight. I wish you and your families a happy Thanksgiving," and stormed off.
Really?
Yep.
Pete, was that as bad? I mean, obviously you know stuff behind the scenes. Was the Patino thing much worse? Do we even know?
I knew he was.
It was bad. We know it was bad.
I knew he was in trouble when he made that. Was it Dino Raja? Whenever it was, he did not understand. He did not understand. He fired
Larry Bird and Dino.
The way he treated Red Auerbach down the stretch, that was a complete debacle. They fired Jan Volk, who was the best salary cap guy in the business. He came on the show with us, and Glenn, in a nice way, kind of beat around the bush with him about how he didn't understand the salary cap. And Rick said, I'll never forget, he's like, well, that's the toughest question I've been asked since I've been here. And you could just tell he had no idea how to handle the salary cap. Absolutely none. So
people who aren't from Boston don't understand this. The very first thing Rick Pitino did when he took over the Celtics was fire Red Auerbach.
Yeah.
Which that should get him fired immediately.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal.
Just to check one thing, Pete. Was Glenn still doing the games when Pitino was there?
No.
Okay, Glenn was gone.
I was working with him then. I mean, that's
okay. So you had the big show. You on the big show. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I wasn't, I was sparingly. Be right before I got on. But it was he was way done doing the games then. So
were you guys, you and Glenn? I don't want to speak for Glenn, but were you as shocked as I was how bad he was?
Yeah, I'm not, but not after I found out. When you found out about how he handled the salary cap.
Oh yeah,
that was one thing, and then he made all those stupid, with who was it, Moss? I mean, just the whole thing was an absolute debacle. It was really. I
forgot about him firing Jan Volk. That was a great point by you. Jan Volk was like the best GM in the league. He was awesome.
Yeah, and the best salary cap expert in the league by far.
He's a math guy.
Yep, was
crazy, awful.
All right, my man. See what Billy Burt's coming up next. Hopefully he got the link as usual.
Tell him the Beef says hi. That's my guy.
The Beef. I will tell him that. Absolutely.
He's my right-hand man back in the day. He's still where I left him.
Awesome.
And I mean that in a good way.
Yes. All right. We'll talk. We'll have a happy Thanksgiving. If I don't talk to you, I know you're going to have your show tomorrow, right? Again, tomorrow night, I think. And if I don't hear from you or see you, I'll text you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, you and your family. You're the best. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Pete. Have a good one. Thanks to all the fans, and everybody have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Sweet. All right, Angel. I sent Billy that he sent another email. I don't know. Let's just take a break and just take a full break, and hopefully we'll connect with Billy Burke from the Eagle Tribune. I'm going to go light a candle. We'll talk about the Patriots and see where he stands and what his thoughts were yesterday on the Gerard Mayo press conference and others. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
2. Here is Hill. He gets the first down, and on he goes. Inside the 10. End zone. Touchdown. Justice Hill. And you're going to see what's happening here, and they're trying to communicate it out. They don't quite get situated. Below he goes.
Where's that coming from? I'm not playing that cut. What the... What the fuck? I don't get it. What happened? Where is that coming from?
Still on the Baltimore
Where is this coming from?
50.
Maybe Bill has a magical speaker in his pocket and it's coming out that way.
This is not organically. There are some
I don't know.
So I hit that stupid button on the ESPN webpage. All right, good morning. Get back here, Pete Sheppard Show. God, fuck me. Here's Bill Byrne, Eagle Tribune, joining me. Speaking of that, thanks for joining me, Bill. I appreciate it. Were you out in the parking lot of Gillette? Or
No. I'm outside. I'm in Brad. You got Florida behind you. I got the Bradford Farm here, Rogers Farm here in Bradford, Mass.
Bradford Farm?
No, it's Rogers Farm in Bradford, Mass.
Oh,
and it's right next door to North Andover. And I went out and I just got my turkey right down the street here.
Nice.
At Raymond's Turkey Farm. And so I'm here. I'm here to talk some sports. Let's go. I want a nice backdrop. I want to compete with you a little bit.
No, that's good. Yeah, it looks chilly over there. It's chilly here too. It's only 66 right now. It's a little chilly today.
No, it's chilly here.
All right, let's just get right into the nuts and bolts of the offensive line. I just can't stand it. took a turn for the way worse. I want to know, where's the goddamn accountability? Gerard Mayo's comments during that press conference yesterday were more, and I played them shortly after on the show. And when you're on, and then he goes on Greg Hill's show, I think I listened to some of that. When you talk about how bad the offensive line is, and then you can't even talk about your backups because you say they're not good enough. What are we doing? I mean, what are we doing? Why? I told Angeles yesterday, I want somebody like in Top Gun. I want some butts. I want some accountability. I want somebody waived or fired. And what the hell is going on? Why is there no accountability?
Well,
it's ridiculous.
So first of all, he hasn't learned from Bill Belichick. You shut your mouth.
Nothing.
You don't. When you talk about what he talk. So listen, Pete. He didn't mean exactly what he said. Obviously, they coach players up. They make adjustments on the field, but what his point was, it's not all the coaches; it's on the players. And I understand what he's saying, but penalties, and especially discipline penalties, like simple blocking and false starts, that's coaching. 100% coaching. That's taken care of in practice. So that makes it appear he has no idea what he's doing. I don't think that's the case. I'm not going to tell you I think he's the answer. I just think he hasn't really understood the coach, what a coach is supposed to say, and how you talk about your team. I go back to when he called the team soft a month and a half ago. I thought that was wrong, and I don't think they were soft. I think his coaching has been soft, and I think that's really been the problem. Now, let's go to the game on Sunday. Offensive line is a problem. It's been a problem from day one. They had a very good game against Cincinnati, and they've had one other game since then where the offensive line has been A+. Other than that, they can't run the ball. And this team has to run the ball if they're going to compete.
They can't run the ball, Billy, because they're always in goddamn 3rd and 15 because of the stupid penalties on 1st and 2nd down. It's ridiculous. What I want to know is, and I understand what you're saying about, and I'm not yelling at you, I'm yelling at General.
I got you.
As far as there's still no goddamn accountability. Why hasn't somebody been waived or cut? He keeps saying all this stuff. What is the accountability factor? Start running until you throw up. That's what I told you. I'd be Herb Brooks again. These guys stink. The same what's his name? Number 59. Three times in the first half. Just ridiculous. Where is the accountability? He can say all this stuff. Why haven't people been cut? And why haven't some of these coaches been fired? Like Scott Peters, Michael McCarthy, somebody, or reassigned. Something should have been done after that game.
Well, no, the problem is they don't have any other coaches and they don't have any other players.
Oh, that's bullshit. They can find players that can go offside and start as many times as that. Christ, you and I can be out there and know the cadence as well. I feel so bad for Drake May. I am so pissed at this team because there's no accountability.
Well, I'm not where you're at because I'm done with this team. This team is done. Like, I'm talking about wins and losses. Now, when I say done, they better not be done. I'm talking about, I'm not concerned about their record. Here's what I figured out. Drake May can play. I'm not ready to call him an elite franchise quarterback, but he's shown signs of it.
I think he will be.
Okay, so but let's just say there's still growth here, but I think he is too.
Of course.
I'm not saying he isn't. So that's good.
But Bill, you're putting him in 2nd and 15, 3rd, and every time he makes a play, it gets called back. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You're living in the micro. I'm living in the macro. I get it. This offensive line is gone. Four of the 5 starters are gone next year. So not really an issue. I'm concerned with how the season ends, and I'm going to throw away the Miami game because the Patriots always suck in Miami.
Billy, why hasn't an offensive line coach been fired? We see it happen all that there is something not right here. Let's get to the crux of this. Why isn't a guy like Scott Peters canned? Why isn't a guy like Michael McCarthy still there? These guys can't coach for whatever they can't. They can't coach. So what in God's name are we doing here?
No, so they can't coach. You're right. They are going to get fired. You can't fire them.
It happened already. It doesn't get any worse than that.
Pete, they won't have any coaches. Pete,
good.
So
they don't need them. They don't need them to go jump off sides or false starts 9 times in the first half.
So, Pete, I'm going to tell you we should be talking about the games, and you're obviously very upset. That game was not a game on Sunday. It was over from this. At the end of the first quarter, the game was over. You basically
Can't
said,
keep, but I agree with you about the progress. I know what you're getting at, and I agree with you. I want to see the progress. But how can you keep having progress if these offensive coaches cannot get these guys for whatever reason to stop being stupid? And I don't want to hear about the cadence and all that stuff. Guys lining a foot and a half offside on offense. I mean, that's just embarrassing. But Billy, there's no accountability. Somebody should have lost their job, or people should have been waived by today. I don't understand it.
No, because they're all going to get waived, Pete, at the end of the year. And so again, I'll say this again, and this is my point after the game on Sunday was this is basically we have to figure out if Gerard Mayo's the guy, and I'm not ready to say he is, and I'm not ready to say he isn't. I've liked some things that he's done. Head coaches in their first year make mistakes, so I'm going to give him a slight pass. But I'm going to tell you one thing: they can't screw up the last 5 games here and look like crap, which is what they look like on Sunday. They're going to beat Indianapolis. They're going to have to beat they're going to have to beat the Chargers or Arizona, and they're going to have to at least push Buffalo once. I think they're going to win 3 games for this team. I'm more concerned with Pete going forward and what this team is going to look like next year.
I agree.
The biggest problem with this team is the personnel. It's like the coaching is not great. The personnel is worse than the coaching. And this team is
that's on Elliott Wolf, and we know that. He's got enough on his freaking plate to last a lifetime for this season of fucking up and not put enough talent around him. I mean, that is an absolute given. You draft a franchise type quarterback in Drake May, and then you don't at least attempt to go out and get some decent offensive linemen. But that's part of the problem. What about defense? Where this was supposed to be the best part of this team. Where is the accountability again? Wait, Brian Belichick coaching safeties. What the fuck is he doing? What are you doing? The Miami Dolphins just shit all over you. Anything they wanted to do, they owned your collective asses. Everything. For the last couple of weeks, nobody has shut down anything. They just do whatever they want. The Rams did whatever they wanted. The Dolphins did whatever they wanted. Again, no accountability. I want some butts.
Yeah, well, it's not happening. And what about here, Pete? Remember, you mentioned Miami. You did mention the Rams. I'll give you credit for that. But the Miami, Bill Belichick was 0-6 against Tua. And a couple of those teams were pretty good. A couple of those defenses were pretty good. He couldn't beat Tua. So, again, this is the game in Miami. You know, Pete,
not like this, Billy. Not where Miami was embarrassed. That was embarrassing. What they did, embarrassing. There's losing, and then there's losing. And Miami just shit all over that secondary and the line. They did whatever they wanted. Barmore was the only one who just came back that looked like he gave a damn. I mean, Gonzalez had the recovery for the fumble, and Gonzalez played well. Other than that, it's embarrassing. It shouldn't be that bad.
Well, it shouldn't be. But Pete, you didn't even mention the wide receivers. I mean, let's be dead honest.
Oh, please.
Every wide receiver on that team is a wide receiver 4. There's not even a 3. Pop Douglas might be a 3, but I'm not. I think Pop Douglas is average. I honestly think this is the worst receiving core in the league, and it's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably the worst offensive line. And it's too bad because you get Ramondre Stevenson, who I believe is a top 10 back. Maybe I thought he was a top 5 back, and he's the kind of back you want to win with. But this is that's why I can't. I expected what I got here in Miami. I'm not saying I expected them to get absolutely destroyed the first quarter, but I didn't. I thought Tua was going to pick them apart defensively, and he did. I thought the offensive my issue is the penalties, and that's discipline, Pete, and that's the head coach. So that's where I'm now moving my microscope. It's all on Gerard Mayo here the last 5 games. They got to beat Indy on Sunday in Foxborough. I'll be there Sunday at 1 o'clock, and I'm expecting Indy. Indy's pretty good. I'm not saying they're great, but you know what? They're causing a lot of problems. Won 4 out of 5 games before losing last week. I'm more focused, Pete, on what's going to happen the next 5 weeks. I want to see if Gerard Mayo is my coach for my quarterback, which is
I don't know how you can have progress if your offensive line is putting your team in 1st and 15, 1st and 20, 2nd and 25, whatever. Low false start, Jacobs false start, low false start, Jacobs holding. Hooper, neutral zone infraction, fucking 1.5 offside, Mr. Hooper. And I like him, but God almighty, you can't be that incompetent. You can't, 1.5 offside. Jennings, neutral zone infraction, low. Jones holding, low false start. I mean, come on. And
Pete,
nobody has lost their job yet, and nobody has been waived.
Pete, that's a head coach, though. Pete, those are head coaching.
Well, tell me this. Why are people laughing in the locker room? A lot of reports out that people are giggling, and not Drake May, but others. Like my friend Gordon Ramsay said, I think he's lost the plot. I mean, there's something really wrong here. I'm with you. I want to see the guy. I thought I wanted to see him coach the rest of the season. He doesn't have it. He does not have it.
No, Pete.
I love him as a player. I love him as a person. I love him as a player and a person. Right now, as a head coach, he does not have it.
I'm not ready to say that, Pete. I'm not ready to say that. And I'm not saying I think he's the guy, because it's a big risk bringing in someone like that. So here's the problem. You have a quarterback. You can't screw this up. And I believe the Crafts are thinking of the future. And basically what I think is going to happen, Pete, is what you've basically been screaming here about for the last 5 minutes, is the whole staff is gone. And I honestly think it's going to be a completely new staff. And I think it's going to be the guy on top of him.
You think DeMarcus Covington, defensive coordinator, has done a good job this year? I don't.
No. I think he's average, and he's a rookie.
He's not average. He's below average. They don't make any adjustments in these games.
Pete, the problem is they have all these rookie coaches who are in positions they've never been in before.
That's that's on Elliott Wolf, and it's on Mayo. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous that they've allowed this to happen. I don't know if it's Jonathan involved, Elliott, all of them. But, man, they better take a good hard look in the mirror. This is a fucking joke.
You mentioned ownership. Ownership.
That's
Ownership's got to take something.
I'm putting Jonathan and Robert. Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing needs an enema, or a big chunk of it does, except for the quarterback and a couple of other guys. Otherwise, get rid of all of them.
So, Pete, I'm now going to throw Miami away, and I think this is and I'm not saying it's
You're on to Indianapolis.
I'm throwing Miami away. No, and I'm saying no. These 5 games, everyone's job is on the line, and I'm talking the coaching staff. Forget the players. There's going to be a lot of changes next year. I want
to get back to before you pray. I want to get back to the laughing stuff and the people giggling in the locker room. I know sometimes some of that stuff can get fabricated, but I've read enough people the last couple of days that it certainly seems, not Drake May, he seems very pissed, but there's a lot of people not taking.
Not a good sign, Pete. Not a good sign. Sometimes, we go in 10, 15 minutes after and the somber part's over. My opinion, that kind of loss, I don't want to see any smiles and hugs and high fives. I want to see, like, we're going to change this. So, again, the proof's in the pudding. The proof is Sunday against Indianapolis. Indianapolis is favored, I think, 2 points. So this is not a gimme. So they're going to have to play well. And we're going to see, Pete. We're going to see if this team really cares. We're going to see what the coaching staff comes up with, how they're going to stop Richardson, who's, in my opinion, a decent. He's playing well
look
lately.
at what Detroit did last week. And Detroit plays a whole lot of zone and defense, and Richardson's supposedly a very good zone read. He sucked. Couldn't get out of his own way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you look at the Lions' game plan of what they did. They only needed to score 24 points and not their usual 40 plus. And we just lost Billy. He's at Pepperidge Farm or something like that. Bradford Farms. We got his turkey. Oh, Billy.
Usually, hold on. He's back. And he went away. He's
Bradford Farms, Angel out west. Isn't that in the middle of nowhere? Where's Bradford Farms? Some hillbilly area of Massachusetts. People don't think there's hillbilly areas in Massachusetts. There are. There's hillbilly areas in Rhode Island too.
He's usually he's pretty good for about 15 minutes. And after that, it's almost like his phone says, "Your time is up."
Light is on.
Yep.
There he is.
Can we get him back?
Processing. There he is. What happened? A cow come and poop on you? What's going on?
It's a stinker on here, by the way. There are a bunch
No
of cows.
shit. I mean, you're at a farm. I mean, where exactly is this? Give me what town is it near?
So it's part of Haverhill. It's a sub of Haverhill. It's
Oh,
Bradford,
okay.
right off of 495, right next to North
Yeah.
Andover. I live literally on the
Okay, all
Bradford
right.
North Andover
That's all
line.
right. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I've been up that way many times. I've never been to. I don't farm.
Pete, I also want to bring up something. Yesterday was services for a good friend of ours, Larry Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah. And I
Did you get
saw
to go?
Craig Mustard. I saw Borges, and I saw your good friend Danny from Quincy.
Oh.
And we were honestly had a great discussion there. It was great to honor. Honestly, you remember him, Pete. One of the great guys.
I remember, he was a dear friend. In fact, I just talked to him a couple of months ago, and I kind of had heard he wasn't feeling great. I talked to Glenn about this late last week when he was on the show. No, the man was a true gentleman. Never had a bad word to say about anybody. If he didn't like you, Glenn and I were talking. He just kind of be quiet about you, but he was always there for everybody, good and bad. He was a terrific human being. And
He suffered from diabetes, Pete. He had diabetes his whole life, and that was, I think, that's a debilitating disease. And a great guy. And look, we had these irons. I mean, Mustard was. We had honestly, it was great to get together with a couple of those guys and chat. It was really good showing. A lot of his family and friends. So. I drove down. It was down in Stoughton. It took it was a pain in the neck with traffic, but I wasn't going to miss it. Larry was a great guy. Those are some. Look at Pete. We had some fun. Let's be honest. And
Larry was always terrific, and he and Craig did a great job on weekends, and they didn't take themselves too seriously. And it's funny, Danny from Quincy used to get
Danny from Quincy, man. He does a lot of charity work. He's a good guy.
Good guy. He's a good guy. Yep, absolutely. But yeah, Larry will be missed. Not to me, a brilliant writer, cartoonist, and talk show host. And we had a lot of fun together.
Pete, I'm going to get in closing, Pete. I think the Patriots are going to beat Indianapolis, and I think Drake May is going to have the best game of his career. Listen, Pete. Let's go positive here. Drake May, and I questioned his accuracy, and I was looking back in his. He didn't have a lot of big games in college, and look, to put it in perspective, Tom Brady was preparing for Ohio State at 22, at the same age as this kid is right now.
I'm not worried about his progression here. Because I think he's unbelievably professional already. It's not fair that it's one thing to get beat.
I get it.
And it's one thing, but when you have an offensive line that is completely incompetent and cannot even stay on side, I could almost handle if you got sacked 15 times a game, which wouldn't happen. But I can almost, all right, I can understand. We expect when you are putting your team in horrible situations on first, second, and third down because of these stupid, silly false starts and lining up offside, like Hooper did the other day. I mean, just give the kid a chance. Just even if it takes you an extra 2 seconds to come off the line, don't move. Just don't move.
But Pete, that's what we're doing here over the next few weeks. And I believe they understand. Listen, and Mayo's had a couple of weeks where he's got tortured.
They understand? Who's they?
The organization and the coaching staff.
No, they don't, because they would have fired somebody by now.
No, they can't fire him.
You can fire offensive line coaches. You can fire the defensive coordinator. You can certainly waive some of these jackasses who are trying to play on the offensive line. There should have been some repercussions, and there have been none. Sorry, but I don't want to be looking like the Jets and the Giants lately. There's got to be some accountability, and it starts with firing somebody on that staff today and waiving somebody on that staff today. Other than that, there's no accountability, and you pray that May survives the season. I don't believe a word in their shit right now. None of it.
He has survived. Let's be honest. We were afraid he was going to get killed. He's a smart kid, and I'm
smart.
I'm impressed with him, and that's why I'm positive. But we have to decide if Gerard Mayo is the guy, and I think he's the guy. I think he's going to be here for at least another year. and it's hard to fire a coach, Pete, after 1 year. And
no, not in this day and age, it isn't. And not when you have a staff that is that accountable or not accountable, and not when you have a head coach who says, I can't put my backups in. That's what he said. I can't put them in. What are you doing then? Then cut these people and get some. I don't care if you take 20 practice squad people. Have some accountability. There's none. None. Nothing but excuses coming out of there. Nothing.
You put some of those practice squad linemen in there, and Drake May will die. So
no, you don't
want that.
I bet you they don't go false start 9 times in the first half.
It was awful. I'm not gonna. It was awful. It was embarrassing. But I'm just gonna say, I'm more here. I'll say it again, and I don't want to be like a broken record. They get 6 weeks and 5 games to prove who's going to be around next year. And I'm not talking players. I'm talking people on the staff, and I'm talking the management, upper management too.
Agreed. All right, Bill. Thanks for
great stuff.
My rant. Great stuff. How big's your turkey? How big's your turkey?
This is old EEI. I loved it today, Pete.
Well, I can imagine what's going on up there.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people like me. I just want some accountability. That's all. And you cannot tell me that after a horrific game like that somebody either should have been reassigned or cut loose for a player, or reassigned as a coach, or fired. Somebody. You can't just do nothing after something like that. What's been going on, especially the last couple of weeks. But all right, Bill, gotta go.
Great seeing you. We'll talk soon. I guess
happy Thanksgiving.
My truck came by. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone over there, and thanks again. Take care, Pete.
Don't get pooped on by a cow or another living livestock that you're going to go through. Bill Burt from Bradford Farms getting his turkey. All right, quick break. Patrick Gilroy coming up next. We'll talk some NBA hoops. I'm dizzy from that. I'm so pissed. That blood pressure went up too much. I can't talk about the offensive line anymore. I will come back down to earth with a very good team, a great team, the defending world champion Celtics. We'll talk with Patrick Gilroy, get his thoughts on the Celtics and Porzingis coming back last night and the rest of the NBA. When the Pete Sheppard Show continues here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Last month, you might remember Tim Thomas, legendary Bruins goalie, returned on October 5th. What a turnout it was. And now a new event coming up. On Saturday, November 30th, it's Willie O'Ree. Yes, the original Jackie Robinson of the National Hockey League. He'll be signing autographs to the public, $25 each. There'll be photos, pucks, and cards available. Phone orders are welcome. Just call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9 The Game, powered by on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
It's week 8. It's mid.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
All right, back here on the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. I don't know why. A lot of the wind goes up, and for some reason the sound keeps playing off of it. That's just freaking frustrating. Anyway, we welcome Patrick Gilroy into the house, our NBA insider, great NBA insider, of course, that covers the Celtics. Look at you all happy in here. What do you look like? You're ready to join the Marines.
I mean, look, the hair looks good on the top, but the sides grow in white. So I try to keep it nice and tight to hide the white.
High and tight. Hey, when I texted you yesterday, I didn't realize Porzingis was coming back last night. Now, as soon as I got off texting with you, I go on Twitter, and there I look at the end and say, "Oh, Porzingis problem." I'm like, "Oh," because I asked you, I said, "Everybody good to go?" And you said everybody but Cornette. And I said, "Okay," but I was going to text you back. I was like, "Well, you didn't tell me Porzingis was going to play," and I know he'd been practicing. I know he was close, but my God, this is a month earlier than we expected. I mean, we expected him about Christmas Day. I think, Patrick, you and I have been talking over the last few months, and that was a pleasant surprise. I know he'd been working out. I know Pete, the reports were he's been looking good, but you surprised that he's back this quickly?
Yeah, I am. If only because, look, clearly physically he seems like he's healthy, right? But this guy's got an injury-plagued history, and I think last year we learned, and last night we saw just how dynamic he makes the Celtics. Celtics are a dominant team with or without him, but he truly is their cheat code. I thought if to keep him preserved, they might wait till January. What's the rush in getting him back? Kate has been playing fine when Luke Cornett's out there. He's been good. Look, and Al Horford he's the ageless wonder. Like the guy is still performing at a very high level. Celtics record speaks for itself. But
last night.
Look what he brought, though. Look what he brought last night, and look at how different he makes this team and how much he opens up the offense for everybody else. Like, I don't know if we're going to see him play back-to-backs right now. I don't know what the long-term plan is to get him back in NBA game shape. But what we saw last night was exactly what the Celtics were in Game 1 against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals. It's a completely different version of an already dominant team.
And you looked at the Clippers; they were coming in red hot. They had won 5 in a row. They were one of the better defensive teams in the league coming into that game, and they were absolutely shell-shocked. I mean, it took about 8 or 9 minutes for the Celtics to get going from 3, and then it was just swish, 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 swish. I mean, man, picking up right where they left off against the Timberwolves on Sunday. That got a little dicey at the end, but nevertheless, I mean, you cannot beat this team when they're shooting the ball like that. And the inside, they still got outscored in the paint yesterday, right? If I'm not mistaken.
They did, yeah.
But, I'll trade 2 for 3s all the time. I mean, it's just everybody on this team. Even Walsh got a 3 yesterday. I mean, they're all making 3s. I'm waiting for Cato to make a 3. By the way, he's my new favorite player.
Cato.
I love him.
He brings so much joy to the court, and that's what I noticed with him. I noticed it with Porzingis last night, to the point where when I got home from the Garden last night, I went back and I reread some news articles about Porzingis when he was in New York and when he was in Dallas specifically. And especially in New York, the stories were that he had a bad attitude. He was a difficult teammate to have. And I feel like he hasn't stopped smiling since he landed in Boston a year and a half ago. And it's infectious. And Kata has the same sort of body language. He's just happy to be there. And he lets his teammates know that he's happy to be there. He's not too cool for school like so many of these NBA stars are. And having multiple guys, Derek White's another guy like that, having multiple guys on your team that have that right kind of attitude, it's what you need throughout the course of an 82-game season, especially when you've got a team that's led by 2 legitimate superstars. It's nice to have guys that are just happy to be there and do a damn good job when they're on the floor. It's refreshing, and most teams don't have that.
And they all seem to be that way. That's incredible. I know Scal last night on the broadcast early on was talking about his friendship with Jaylen Brown, and I think he said they both live in the same building. They commute together. They're best friends, and I think that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. But there's definitely a camaraderie about this team. And I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say, though. And I did bring it up last year. I thought last year's team was close to being as good as the '86 team, which I think is still the greatest team of all time, or at least one of the top 2 or 3. I think this Celtics team, if they stay, reasonably healthy, they have a chance to be known as the greatest Celtics team of all time. You buying that?
So it's a fun comparison, and I'll give you something that comes right to the top of my head. Is assuming Porzingis is healthy and he's your starting center, isn't bringing Al Horford off the bench kind of similar to Bill Walton?
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, that's it. So they're deep. They play the right way. And the talent that they bring to the floor, I know that they don't have the best record in the league right now, but I don't think you'd find a single NBA general manager that would take the Cleveland Cavaliers roster over the Boston Celtics roster. So I think you're spot on with that, and it's a fun comparison to have. I'd love to be able to live in a world where you can see this team compete against the '86 Celtics or the '96 Bulls, just to see really where you match up. Where do you stand in the hierarchy of the greatest teams that have ever been assembled in the NBA?
Only in video games, I think, if you have whatever's out there now. I haven't played video games in the system in a long time, but back in the day, that's what I would do. I would make sure I get those teams, and it'd be fun just to let the computer play each other and, see what happens. So they're off of they're off until they play the Bulls right on Friday.
Yep.
And this stupid cup tournament. I can't stand all the floors. I hate our floor. I think it could be better. But it's not as bad as Smurf Turf in Philadelphia and some of these other places where you need sunglasses. You go blind watching the game.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Philadelphia is a good team to bring up because they're a team that going into this season, we looked at the Eastern Conference and said, okay, what teams made moves? They're supposed to bring Paul George in. They're supposed to be a team now. You got Maxey, who stepped into that leadership role last year. Paul George, and of course, Joel Embiid. That team right there is supposed to be challenging the Celtics, and right now they look lottery bound. Milwaukee. How much longer? I know they played a little bit better of late, but how much longer can Doc Rivers survive there? Ever since he got there, the team's been a cluster. You know what? Yep. I don't know what to make of what's happening in the Eastern Conference right now. Because the Celtics, sure, they're right at the top with all the talent. But you can make an argument that some of the teams that are on the outside looking into the playoffs right now have got considerably more talent than the teams at the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference.
And then you look at the Eastern Conference, some of the records of these teams, and they wouldn't even make it into the top 10 in the West. I mean, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it would be, I don't know, that's still early, still a lot of basketball to be played. But, other than the Celtics and the Cavaliers, we're 17-1. People are forgetting that too. But the East is being looked at as a laughingstock, but certainly not the Celtics. And I forget, there's an anonymous tweet that came out of somebody last night from the NBA and just said, basically, who's going to beat the Celtics? I mean, it's just a scary good team when they're unbelievable already, and then you add him, and I don't know. No one's going to hand it to him on a silver platter. This is not like the Bruins 2 years ago where they jumped out to a big thing, and then you have to play it. Stanley Cup. The NBA is a little bit different here. The chemistry, the coaching, everything is firing on all cylinders. It's the anti-Patriots right now.
It's a good way to put it. It is the anti-Patriots right now. And you look at the Western Conference, Pete, and there's some surprises over there too. Look, I knew the Lakers were going to get off to a decent start because they always do. When Anthony Davis, when LeBron James are healthy, then the team can compete. They're very good. The problem that they generally have is, especially Anthony Davis, his body breaks down. And without AD, LeBron has proven at his age he can't do it alone anymore. So what does that team have to do? Do they make additions? And what I wonder is, with the Western Conference looking the way that it is, and the Eastern Conference sort of looking the way that it is, there's a legitimate possibility that if teams think that they are close to competing with the Celtics in a potential NBA final, are you going to see guys like Joel Embiid and Giannis potentially on the trading block? I think that is the next big thing to look for in the NBA as we turn to Thanksgiving and get through Christmas. Once we turn into the new year and you got about 6 weeks before the trade deadline, if Milwaukee doesn't correct things, if Philadelphia doesn't correct things, and they're fringy playoff teams, bubble teams, they're teams fighting for that 9-10 spot to get the tournament, to play in tournament. I think that at some point their owners might say, you know what? Why are we paying these guys? Why not just strip it all down? It hasn't worked. There's a real possibility, and that's the only thing that scares me, is if you take a team like the Lakers, for example, and they manage to stay healthy, and then you add a Dame or a Giannis or Joel Embiid or Paul George. I don't know. I think that that's the only sort of hiccup that could get in the way of what the Celtics are trying to do here, aside from health and injuries.
Lakers will not win with J.J. Redick as a head coach. He's there to coach one man and one man only. It's just a matter of time before it implodes and the shit really hits the fan. We've already seen him through a little pussy fit once this year already, when things didn't go his way and stormed off the floor. I don't like him, and I want him to go away. I don't like the Lakers. I agree with everything you said about him, yes, but it's just a question of implosion. It'll happen. Philadelphia's done. They're done. So I can definitely see Embiid. Milwaukee may be somewhat fixable, but I think Giannis wants out, and I bet you Embiid wants out, especially. What about Maxey calling him out last week for being late and tardy and all that stuff? It's a mess over there.
And I'm sure Giannis, guys like Giannis and Joel Embiid are looking at a team like the Celtics and saying, why can't we load up like that? What are you doing? Why do they get the cheat code and I'm over here trying to struggle my way through something? And therein lies the difference. It's leadership from the top down. And that's why it's so rare what the Celtics have done, taking two wing players, raising them from essentially infancy and putting the correct pieces around them. Now, Giannis, of course, is drafted by Milwaukee, and Joel Embiid drafted by Philadelphia. But those two teams, the things that they've had in common, sure, they've had their successes. Giannis has won a championship. Joel Embiid seemingly is in the conversation every year. But their front offices have failed to put the right pieces around their superstars. And look no further than swapping out Drew Holiday for Dame Lillard. We talked about it last year. Dame Lillard on paper, so much better than Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's got very average numbers. But Drew Holiday is a glue guy. He holds your team together. He makes the right defensive plays. He doesn't panic in the moment. Nothing's too big for him. And he has the respect and admiration of his teammates and especially his opponents. You don't have that with these other teams right now. I think there's going to be 4 or 5 franchise players that potentially get moved. And you generally don't see that in season in the NBA. You see, that's an off-season type of thing. But the Celtics are so head and shoulders above 90% of the other teams that are going to be playoff worthy that some of these teams that think that they're on the cusp, I think they're going to have no choice but to go out there and make some sort of an impactful in-season move. And with these teams at the bottom of the conferences that were predicted to be top 4 seeds, you're going to see a lot of talent potentially becoming available.
That's a great point you made about Drew Holiday, and what he had last night was 5, 6, and 5, I think. But who cares?
Yeah. Who cares?
And to have, I think it's such a. The other thing nobody talks about too is having Drew Holiday and D. White on the floor at the same time, 2 of the best defensive guards in the league. I mean, it is tremendous. So you've got incredible talent on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your thoughts on last night. I want to play Mike Malone. Have you heard Mike Malone?
I didn't hear Mike Malone. No,
We're going to play him.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw the highlights last night. Denver at home against the Knicks. It was literally a dunk fest. They scored every basket on a dunk. 45 assists. They tied their franchise record. The Knicks did. They blow out Denver on their home floor. Teams get blown out. It's embarrassing. But this is one of those times where the fans need to get their money back. Mike Malone went to my high school, by the way, back in the day. Was not happy after the game. You should, if you watch the highlights, Patrick, this morning, dunk, dunkity, dunk. Everything was a dunk. I've never seen anything like it. Here's Mike Malone.
Oh, that man. No, we're not flushing. You don't flush when you get embarrassed. You don't flush when you gave up 145 points. You don't flush when you didn't play hard, didn't play with effort, didn't play with physicality. I'm not flushing anything. Well, yeah, I mean, like Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's vocal. I mean, but we need more than Russell Westbrook. I need Nikola Jokic. I need Jamal Murray. I need guys that have been here in that starting lineup to be vocal. And, tonight we got embarrassed.
That's just part of it, but you'll get the gist of it. By the way, the Nuggets are 9-7. If they were in the Eastern Conference, Patrick, they'd be the 5 seed right now.
It's crazy. I did hear Jamal Murray talking after the game last night, and he blamed it. He blamed their lack of energy, their performance on they were just in L.A. and apparently a lot of his teammates have got homes and family in L.A. So some of them stayed behind and they stayed out late and they partied. Like
stupid.
It's just stupid. You can't do that. These guys are professionals. People would be disgusted and sick.
That's Rajon Rondo stories. Remember those back in the day?
Of course I do. Of course I do. His birthday party.
His birthday party after the Laker game.
No, but these guys, as fans, we talk about their salaries. As media, we talk about their salaries. And it's monopoly money when you say, Jaylen Brown's making $33 million this season. What brings it home and makes it real is if people take a look at their game day paychecks, what they make per game. It's more than what we make in 3 or 4 or 5 years, depending on what we do for a living, for 1 out of 82. Yeah. And for these guys just to toss it away and say, well, we're hungover, we hung out in LA too late the night before. Like, you can't do that. And I sincerely hope that when games like that happen and guys admit that they hung out too late, they partied too much, they drank too much, there's got to be a financial penalty that the NBA can implement on some of these guys to prevent it. It's not fair to the fans.
No, it's not. It's supposed to be. And that's why Joel Embiid opened up his fat mouth a couple of weeks ago and said, "I'm not." And then he tried to backtrack, and then he's suspended. And then how do you know when the suspension actually is going to end and where his injury is going to flare up again? And then it has flared up again. Has it really flared up again, or has it Maxey got to his ego and he's pissed now? I mean, I don't know. It's too bad because I wanted Boston and Philadelphia to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think it would have been a great thing for the NBA. And to me, Milwaukee can be somewhat fixable. The 76ers are done. Dead like Don Nuts.
Poor Angel. He's so quiet today. We're sitting here.
Well, he's got his Eagles on a 7-game winning streak, one of the best teams in the NFL. So
he can enjoy his Eagles, okay? They're great. He can ride that train, but I know he's a Sixer fan. And back in the day when the Celtics went 0 for February, Pete, you were on the big show.
Yeah.
Those were the days. We've lived the misery of having your team suck for years and years and years. What the 0-17 Celtics, the 0 for February Celtics from 1997, what they don't have in common with the Philadelphia 76ers is that team was supposed to suck. That team didn't have high-end talent. That team was losing for a living.
We had Darren Day making threes and late action.
Yeah, you had Todd Day on that team. You had Blue Edwards on that team. I mean, that team was a mess. But they weren't trying to win basketball games. They were trying to get the lottery balls lined up to get Tim Duncan.
And my car was smiling every game.
No, I feel his pain. It sucks. The NBA season is great. It's 82 games. You look forward to the Sunday afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock tips when you have a team that is supposed to be a championship contender. So Philly's got a lot of those this year. And when your team underperforms the way that the Sixers have, it strips all the fun out of it. It's no good.
Let me ask you, because you're an NBA insider, you're close to this stuff. I don't understand some of these teams and some of these games that are being scheduled at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday. Why? I mean, the Celtics usually used to play those games at 6, and other teams too. Why are you trying to compete with the NFL? Not that it wasn't sold out at the Garden against Minnesota on Sunday, but why is the NBA scheduling games at least wait till 6 o'clock? I don't get it.
So, I mean, you know this. Before the NBA jumped to ABC, ESPN in 2000, and you had the NBA and NBC, NBC was smart enough. What they did, they waited for the Super Bowl. And after the Super Bowl, you started getting the double and triple headers. Noontime game, 3 o'clock game, 6 o'clock game, 9 o'clock game, and Bob Costas would be in the studio the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's how to do it. I don't know why the NBA, I'm glad they've gone back to the mid-afternoon Sunday game, but they should really be going heavy up with that schedule. post Super Bowl. Don't compete with the NFL. The NFL is the one television product that has no competition. So don't try to do it.
And only because of the Celtics did I have, after the Patriots debacle, did I have Red Zone on my laptop, and I had, focusing on the Celtics on the big screen in my living room. But, most people aren't going to do that. Only teams that are playing that are really, really good are going to make that sort of sacrifice. But I just thought it was odd because they used to play on Sundays at 6 o'clock on these type of games. And not on that. I'm not even talking about national TV. I just don't know why you schedule something. And this has nothing to do with arena availability either. I don't get why there's 3:30 games going up against the NFL. I think it's stupid. But
yeah, the NBA did. They did it on purpose. They talked about it in the offseason that they were going to make a push to try to get back to the Sunday afternoon, sitting on your couch, watching multiple games, whether it's your team playing or another team playing. But again, my assumption was when they made that announcement, they were going to do it after the Super Bowl, like NBC used to do. And NBC did a great job with it. There was nothing better than sitting back and watching a mid-afternoon Michael Jordan game. And then you go to the West Coast and you watch Charles Barkley and the Suns. That's how it should be done. But the NBA, again, I think they sort of jumped the gun here and they didn't put two and two together. Competing with the NFL is just not a smart, intelligent thing to do if you're trying to maximize viewership and maximize those numbers.
Patrick Gilroy, NBA insider, covers the Celtics also and part of Cat and Pat here on the Coastal Sports Network. How is Cat doing?
Cat is doing great. We're actually headed down your way for Thanksgiving, kind of. We're going to headed to Miami to go see my childhood best friend and his kids. They're my god kids. Oh, nice. So we're going to fly out tomorrow morning and have a warm Thanksgiving, Pete.
Excellent. Although it's it's up to 70 degrees now here in Fort Myers, but it's the same thing on the East Coast.
So this gets me. So we're going to flying into Fort Lauderdale, and Thanksgiving Day, the weather forecast is supposed to be like high 70s, low 80s in Fort Lauderdale. Yep. The next day, we're driving the 3 hours to my timeshare in Orlando, where the high is going to be 54. Yeah, like, what is going on?
It's what happens this time of year. Occasionally, it's what happens. You got to go through Disney World and that traffic. I mean,
no, we're not doing Disney. We're not doing Disney. I've got a timeshare condo there that my parents picked up in '86, and I bought my own. I don't know, in 2013. And we're just going to spend 4 days relaxing. We don't have the kids. They're with the exes for the exes have the Thanksgiving holiday, so it's just us.
Oh, wait a minute. I hear an episode coming out of Orlando. I hear it. The kids. That's going to be spicy. By the way, Pat, I have one sound for Embiid and the Sixers.
Okay.
I'm so done with the Embiid thing. I said to Pete, I am just beyond pissed off that I even offered Embiid another contract extension, which is just dumb. Then you bring in a banged up Paul George, which is making zero difference. And then you have Maxey, who's on a court by himself, literally. Then they bring in some rookie last week. And the rookie has the nerve to turn around saying, I'm going to be rookie of the year. Are you serious? You played one stupid game and you're already saying you're the rookie of the year. It is a tragic mess in Philly, and I can't stand it. Thank God, at least temporarily, for my Eagles, even before they just go from here to just a little bit, and then I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But I'm so done with the Sixers.
I feel for you, Angel. I really do. Maybe there's a trade to be worked out where Joel Embiid is swapped for Giannis because the money works. I don't know. There's something's got to give. And Philly has tried for about a decade now to build this thing around Joel Embiid, and whether it's health or heart or a combination of the two, it's clear that you have to get wired a certain way to be a true superstar on these big-time East Coast teams. Whether it's the Knicks, the Celtics, the Sixers, these big-time East Coast teams, the media is different, the fan bases are different, and you can't be sensitive. You can't listen to the noise. You can't tune into sports radio and let it bother you. And unless you can tune all that out, you're kind of screwed. And I think as Joel has gotten a little bit older, instead of maturing with his age, I think he's taken a step back a little bit because every year that goes by where Philadelphia disappoints, the noise gets a little bit louder. And now it's as loud as it's ever been.
Great point. All right, Patrick, all the best. Thanks so much. Enjoy. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you and Kat and your entire family, and we'll talk soon. All the best.
Happy Thanksgiving, Pete. Happy Thanksgiving, Angel. Talk to you soon.
All right, Pat, you too. Enjoy. Have a safe trip.
Bye-bye.
Before we go, Juan Soto apparently, according to reports, has offers from 5 teams: the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. They put the Blue Jays last, the Red Sox second to last, and have the Dodgers, Mets, and Yankees all in front of them. He has no faith in them either. Angel, before we close out the show, speaking of traffic, right underneath the show, if we could play this video, it's very funny. It's a short video about what it is like in Boston traffic. There's nothing but rush hour now. This is absolutely hysterical, my friends up in New England or up in the Boston area. Check this video out.
10 o'clock at fucking night. 10 o'clock. And what is there in Boston? It's fucking traffic. You get cut. It doesn't matter when it is. Day, night, noon, 8 a.m., 7 p.m., 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a fucking Wednesday. You're gonna get fucking cut with traffic. Fuck you. Fuck everything. It's just gonna be traffic. It doesn't fucking matter. Fucking fuck! It's 10 o'clock at fucking night.
Tell us how you really feel.
It's fantastic. Angel, thanks so much for all doing what you do today. Thanks to Jay Flanley. Thanks to Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune. Thanks to Jay Flanley from Beef World. And Patrick Gilroy, our NBA insider from WEI, who covers the Celtics. A big show tomorrow, everybody. 8:30, Bill Sparrows will join me from the Boston Herald, I think, and bookies.com. And then at 9:15 till 9:45, Red Sox legend Rico Petrocelli is going to join me. We'll tell you about his new business venture, what he's been up to, and we are going to get into some serious talk about food and Thanksgiving. Have a great and safe rest of your Tuesday, everybody. I'm back tomorrow at 7 a.m. See ya.